Hello?
Oh,
What?
oh my God, that's a no. I'm not taking the piss, please. But as you can see, that's where I'm at, and you're all goth festive. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
like I think this is good.
definitely. Someone actually tried beating you to being a guest. Someone else is doing it again. No.
Don't. Oh, honestly, when I've gone live, everyone keeps sending me like random invites, and I'm like, dude, I don't know you. I'm not here to battle you.
Exactly. I don't know you.
Yeah. Oh,
So how you
weird.
been?
But
How's your December
oh,
treating you so far?
I was about to ask you that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. What? But no, it's been good. As you can see, working retail this time of year has just been. It's the usual, but other than that, no, it's good. I've got next week off, and I'm off for about 11 days. So
I'm jealous.
no,
So
I'm
jealous.
sorry, but yeah, like my work's weird because we have like red weeks. We can't book any holiday off.
hmm
And then I noticed last year, no, was it? Whenever I booked my holiday for last year, they had the week before Christmas because I know everyone's got like families at my work, and I was like, they're going to book that off. So I thought, well, if I do the week before, nobody booked it off. I got it, and it was fantastic because it's like dead. Nobody comes in, and it's quite quiet. But then you feel like there's not much to do, but. Yeah,
Yeah.
but this year I'm in a different role. So, but yes, how are you? How are you? Sorry.
Pretty good. With what I'm used to in retail, it's completely different. So it is a lot slower. So
Yeah.
I'm actually not overwhelmed. I'm having if I do have a busy day, I don't feel like I'm going home stressed. I feel I'm thinking I'm happy with how today went. So it's good. I've got a
Oh,
good
good.
crew.
Now, I was also going to say, how was it being in the movie? How was it? Because obviously
Oh,
we
it,
haven't.
it it was a lot of fun. It was just two scenes. I think it took. We did start a little bit late because the camera girl and sound guy were late. They thought it was starting at 12, not 12, at 1, and it was starting at 8 at 9. So we
Yeah,
got it all done in the correct amount of time anyway. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I don't know when it's
good.
coming out. I don't know when I'll be able to see it, but yeah,
Yeah.
I can say I've been in a movie, which is really cool.
No, great, great. Please let me know because obviously I'll be there watching it, supporting.
Oh,
So,
I'm gonna be getting the DVD as well, so we can go with my Vampires in Australia one. So yeah, there's gonna be like a matching set. So everyone here, welcome to an Yvonne Priest Christmas, the Christmas episode live on TikTok. I thought we would take this opportunity to talk about our favorite horror Christmas movies. We don't always have to stick with horror, just because there are some ridiculous ones like Fat Man and Violent Night that
oh
just
yeah,
I
yeah,
just enjoy immensely anyway around this time of year. So, what's your
yeah.
go-to Christmas horror movie?
Oh, see, I do. I love Christmas horror because it's again it takes that nice simple kind of sweet saccharine thing and then kind of spoils it a little bit. But for me, it's Krampus because I was someone the other day talking about it, and I really did think, and I was like, it's got to be Krampus because I know a lot of people don't like that movie because I think it's the like a comedic horror movie. But for me, I love it. I love Michael Dougherty because he did Trick or Treat, and he obviously went on to do Godzilla. But yeah, that movie just it feels so Christmassy, but at the same time, then you've got the family, and they're a bunch of whatchamacallits, and and yeah, you get that familial sense at Christmas, the kind of anger and pent up rage throughout the year, and then it's you mix in evil Santa Claus. But what's yours?
Now,
Here we go.
yeah, because I really should have had myself prepared for this one. Because look, I just watched, as you would have seen, I did a review for one called The Mean One. So I just
Oh
did that one recently. This one
yes,
was so much fun. and this one's definitely got to make it into my rotation for next year. It was
Yeah.
just so much fun. But I do like Better Watch Out.
Yes, that is a good one.
Yeah,
I do need to rewatch that one. I've got that in my stack. I've got like a massive stack.
my stack's right behind me, right next to Silent Night, Deadly Night. They're both of them together in a pack, which is no
Oh,
point in watching the first one because you can just watch the second one and watch the whole movie of the first one in the second one. So what's the point?
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah,
no, just something about Christmas horror I really quite enjoy. Like especially if you watch the episode of Tales from the Crypt, the and All Through the House that they did the remake for that Richard Donner did. That is another thing for me that's probably like quintessential Christmas horror. That
yeah.
one, even though it's on a movie, it's like a 20-minute episode, have to watch that one every single year.
Oh,
Without
brilliant.
fail. Yeah,
Yeah,
without fail, that one has to be watched.
yeah. I don't know, like, because yeah, like for me, my kind of go-to Christmas movie has been for the last couple of years, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake. Um, just because you work Christmas and like I've got like a lot of and we get Christmas music playing like especially this year has been like beginning of October, middle of October. It's you just get that kind of pent up rage. So I love films like that, the alternative kind of Christmas movie. But yeah, Christmas horror has always been something like I've never really kind of it's not like I don't like it. It's just when I've got into it, it's just yeah, it's a tough one. And like you say, because I watched Mean One as well, and I was like, oh god, it's just like a like I love when like David Howard Thornton is doing like as the Grinch, like that diner scene was amazing. But then
Yes.
when he's yeah, like when he's not on screen, I struggled a bit. But I am going to rewatch it through Christmas week. But yeah, like I've never really seen because when people say like, well, "What's your favorite like Christmas horror?" You always go, "Well, it's got to be Silent Night, Deadly Night, the original." I'm partial to the remake, but then you kind of then start struggling because there's or like Krampus, like the big movies, and there isn't quite a lot. And I think for a massive holiday like this, where like Hallmark has marketed it, you would think there'd be more.
You'd think so, but people, I think when people think Christmas horror, they go for more something like Black Christmas, like a
Yeah, or Black
proper
Christmas as well.
horror
Yeah.
movie that completely takes itself seriously as a horror movie. Where
Mm.
I think there's so much opportunity to make something ridiculous that just
Yeah.
makes fun of it. And
Yeah.
it's just a great time to just be silly with the genre.
Yeah.
Just to make it a bit more lighthearted, make it a bit more accessible for people. But yeah, definitely a time to do stuff like that because it's the silliness I absolutely loved. It was
Yeah.
so stupid. It didn't have to make sense. It didn't have to be, Citizen Kane. It was the mean one. I wrote a review. The director liked it, and even they even like quote people in their own trailer saying how it's silly. It's something to watch when you're drinking whiskey with your mates and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's the perfect time of year to actually just be stupid with it,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah.
really think
But
people
what?
should do some more of.
Yeah, I mean, what one underrated kind of Christmas horror movie I absolutely love is I'm obsessed with the director Adam Marcus. So he did Friday the 13th, Nine. So like Jason Goes to Hell, the one that everyone like, other than Part Five, the one that everyone hates. Um, and I love the guy. I think he's a really interesting kind of creative kind of talent. And he was at Fright Fest promoting Secret Santa. And I was like, right, I need to see this movie. I don't know because he did it with like his like acting troupe and his wife, and it is without a doubt one of the best Christmas movies. So the plot is very simple. It's a family coming together for Christmas, and basically everything goes out the window. And I mean, it's like a really intense kind of reality show, like drama soap opera, but cranked up to like 11. and the twist, I don't want to say too much because I was almost about to say something, but I don't want to say too much because nobody really talks about it. But if you really want, like, it's a grounded, like, there's no like killers or nothing, but it's oh, what is it? It's like, it's a really grounded kind of family drama, but obviously, as I've said, amped up. But the antics that go on in that film, it is hilarious, absolutely hilarious, and kind of what we were talking about. So
Yeah.
I'm hopefully going to try and get a few more people who are watching onto films like that. You know.
Now you just did a video, didn't you, about doing some more obscure horror Christmas horror movies, or just obscure? If I can talk, obscure Christmas movies in general. Did you
You're
just
all
do?
right. I mean, it's night time for you, and obviously like 8 o'clock for me. I've literally been up for 2 hours. I've had to
Oh,
get up
it's
there.
the sun's still out. I've just got a stutter.
Oh
That's
no, no,
just
you're all
me.
right. It's yeah. I just feel like I'm like, oh god, my brain's not working at the moment. So I do.
Oh,
If I'm wandering, just say Rich. It's okay.
no, no, you're fine. I woke up with
But
the worst hay fever this morning, so
oh
I'm
my
all
goodness.
antihistamine up at the moment because there was like an asthma storm, they call it, last night.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, everyone pretty much, I'm walking past every single person in the street today that was blowing their nose because it's just really mucks up. That's Melbourne. That's Melbourne being
Yeah.
Melbourne. And today it honestly did do a thing of it stormed and then the sun was out and then 20 minutes later
Oh
it did it again
yeah.
and you're like, we won't
Yeah.
actually get proper summer until probably February, and then it'll be about 2 weeks, and then it'll get cold again.
Yeah.
The
And
consistency here is crazy. Oh,
yeah.
lack thereof.
Yeah, no, I relate. I mean, like there are days in England where we will literally. I used to commute to uni. I started one day. It was a beautiful sunrise here. Got to kind of one of the big stops, and it started raining. Get to a little bit further down, it's sleeting, and then keep going. It's like it potentially was even thundering, and then you get to the end, and it's all sunshine, but it's absolutely freezing. So yeah, we run the gamut as well. But about kind of obscure Christmas, I don't think I have. I can't remember if I've got a video planned
Oh,
or I've ordered something. I know a lot of people have. Oh, that yes, I know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was it. Yeah, I did. I stitched someone last night about obscure Christmas movies because it was like somebody was talking about that, and it's a weird thing where you don't realize kind of certain films can be kind of Christmas, because this is the thing. I know it's a little bit off topic with horror, but I've got the platform, so it's time rant time. In that, I don't believe Die Hard is a Christmas movie. This is your. I know. Bear with me. The amount of people who have a go at me, it's brilliant, and it's like this is your trailer moment, like, ready, so it's Die Hard is not a Christmas movie in my opinion. And the reason I've always believed that is simply because I'll try to put it in the video I recorded last night, but it was just getting too long, and I thought, no, Joe, what, I'll save it for another day. But the idea of, like, for me, a Christmas movie is like, people take certain things, so you've got to have snow, jumpers, Christmas trees and things like that. That for me is what I call the fluff. That's the kind of stuff that you can, anyone can kind of say makes a movie. It's like an action movie. If a normal movie, say, has like a drama, if it's got a kitchen sink and that, you can call it a kitchen sink drama. And it's like, well, no, there's different kind of things that make it a specific genre, subgenre. So anyway, I'm digressing. But Die Hard for me, I've always believed no, and that's I don't hate anybody who thinks otherwise, but it was just, like, when I watch, like, in films like It's a Wonderful Life and things like that, you always have a character who's kind of really at the bottom, and they're really kind of in a kind of rut within themselves, and then as the movie progresses, they kind of change into where they'd hoped they'd be, if you get me. It's a real progression. And I know people have said, well, you've got kind of like this and that, with John, and at the end he's got his wife, but then the sequels kind of destroy that for me, and I it's always tough. It's tough explaining this because it's like I just feel it's like an action movie set at Christmas. Whereas you take Lethal Weapon, I think that's a perfect Christmas movie that's also kind of alternative, because with the Riggs character, they're very much at one particular place at the beginning of the movie, and at the end he's got like a surrogate family. He's in a much better place.
Okay, but by saying that, could you argue that First Blood is a Christmas movie? Would you think First Blood is a Christmas movie?
Ooh. Ooh.
Because I'm the kind of person, if there's a tree, it's a Christmas movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You could
What
do,
would you
yeah.
say? Yeah.
You could, yeah, yeah. I mean, again, it's nice to have the fluff in it, but like that's wow, you've blown my mind right now. Genuinely, like that's one I'd never thought of.
Yeah. It's got the fluff. It's set at Christmas time.
There you go. There you go. See, this is it. This is it now. We're creating like definitive lists.
See, because you're saying that Die Hard is not a Christmas movie. Yes, I know that Bruce Willis said it at his roast. He can be
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah.
I've got like a kid's Christmas book for Die Hard. It's a Christmas movie.
No, no, no.
Even the
And that's it. And that's it. Even though, like, because this is a thing as well. Because I think I may have said it on the other one. I do have strong opinions, but the thing is that I'm always willing. I always feel like the opinion feels like it's like a brick wall.
yeah,
When I make a statement like that, everyone's like, whoa, 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 like, but I'm always willing to be proven wrong.
yeah,
Like I'm happy to have that discussion, and if you feel that is a Christmas movie, brilliant. I
yeah,
mean, the toughest one, I think I said on the last one, is Gremlins. Like, I can't do Gremlins. Like,
yeah.
it's become like a real, because anytime I see someone sharing Gremlins, I'm like, go, go, go. I can't look at them.
Well, I can understand that. Like they're pretty full on. That special, those kind of special effects,
Yeah, yeah.
especially when you're a kid watching that, they really
Mm,
do affect you. And that's
yeah,
just something about kids being born in the 80s. We're born tough, dude. Look at all
yeah,
the
yeah.
stuff that we ended up watching that, like these
Oh,
days, everyone would be like, oh no, you can't watch that, you're too young for that. I mean, if you were to watch something like, like the vacation movies, like there's more boobs and
yeah,
faces in those movies sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
But
I mean,
you
that's
watch
it.
them?
That, that is a perfect example. Like, and I think that's where kind of the conversation. I find when I do videos, I do struggle because I like talking about exploitation and things like that, and it's tough because you're dealing with things that aren't okay. I've watched films, especially Italian movies, where I've genuinely just gone. I've just had to sit there and I've just gone, what am I watching? Because it's abhorrent, And then you go, well, is that the filmmaker's perspective? Is that the cultural perspective? It's tough. And then when people start going, well, like Christmas Vacation, and it's like, well, is Chevy Chase a predator? Because he's obviously with the counter girl, and things like that. And I'm going, well, that when I watched it, I was never thinking things like that. And I think that's the generational thing where it's like, it's tough to get that balance. You know what I mean? Like, because we're obviously now in our minds as adults, try to, we've cemented thoughts and feelings and how we feel about the world, and obviously that still changes, but it's also like, as I say, like it's a conversation, but then it shouldn't be dismissed because of where and when it was made, when those conversations weren't being had, if you get me.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's just yes, some of the that correctness stuff that kind of just really
Mm,
just enjoy it for the time it was made. Okay,
yeah,
yes, it was very different. It worked then. It may not work for you now,
yeah,
but different times. Like if you actually watch certain Warner Brothers cartoons, like I've got some on some
Oh,
DVDs,
God.
it'll actually have like that little like card that goes in front saying like, these were made at a different time, so
Yeah,
please
yeah,
forgive anything that's that's offensive, but it was fine at the time, or it was more acceptable at the time.
yeah,
Look,
yeah,
you got the option to not watch it as
yeah.
well. So if you
I,
watch it and
I,
get offended, and you keep on watching it and you get offended again, it's kind of on you.
yeah, that's where I think that's where we need to go as a society. We've got a company over here, and I think you guys have them as well, Studio Canal. Like,
Yes.
yeah, and they are doing absolute spot on work, and what they do is they put the title card saying, the thoughts and views and opinions are of that time, we don't agree with that, and obviously, things like that. And I think that's how films need to be presented now, instead of cutting them or just dismissing them. But yeah, I know we're going off topic, but
No, no, it's
but
okay. Like, look,
yeah,
Christmas one is very like a bit very nichey, so you can actually we could even explore like what characters could work well as horror characters. Like my friend Lee
yeah.
Howard from Canada, he's actually drawing a series of characters that are Christmas characters but horror, where you like say if Alf. He was told he couldn't come back to the North Pole because he was human. What if he found out that he actually likes the taste of elves? And he actually becomes like a
Oh,
predator to the elves. How
oh,
would Clark Griswold be if he didn't find a tree to replace the one that got destroyed on Christmas Eve?
yeah,
Did
yeah.
Kevin grow up to be Jigsaw kind of thing?
Oh my days.
Because
Yeah.
right there, that's like your ultimate kind of like just imagine
Yeah.
if he set up something for Jigsaw, or basically if like Kevin was ready for the purge, it could work.
It could.
It could work
Oh,
like it like last I watched a couple of weeks ago. It's a Wonderful Knife. How they've
yeah.
turned that and made it into a horror comedy. And what I absolutely love about that, apart from it was freaking hilarious, it's got Joel McHale. Put Joel McHale in anything you want to watch it. But I love the fact that Michael Kennedy, the actual writer of it, all he does is just post all the bad reviews saying, "Oh, it's too gay, it's this and that," and you're just making people want to watch it more. Like you're not doing anything bad. But I just love the fact he's just like, I love how it's like upsetting people for just no reason. Just don't watch the movie. Stay away from it if you don't want to watch the movie. But it's a lot of fun. I actually recommend that you check it out.
No, no. I did watch it, and I did struggle with it. But I like, again, that's another one where it's like I'm working at the, obviously with work and stuff, and I feel like I'm in the mood for something, and I don't. That's why I've not really talked about it. It's not the movie's fault. I feel it's my fault. So I'm always, as I say, like, that's why I want to come back to the mean one, because now I've seen that initial viewing, because I didn't rate it as high as you or enjoy it as much as you, but that's the beauty of it. Come back to it, especially like when I'm feeling a little bit more relaxed, and like next week holiday, I've got time, I can chill and enjoy movies like that. And that's why I've always tried never to dismiss filmmakers or things like that, because again, I feel a lot of it, as I get older, I feel a lot of it is me now, where it's like my mood, my kind of thing. But no, I love your point, because Robert talked to me about it, and he was like, "Oh, what would what is a film you would take and make Christmas movie and do as a horror movie?"
Mhm.
And then we were just talking about it, and it's like, what was it, Polar Express as a horror movie? It's like, you've got
Yes.
Tom Hanks taking all these kids to the North Pole, and you go, actually, wait a minute, there is something off there.
Yeah.
And then I'm just, bear with me, I've got a couple here. Oh god, I don't know, I can't think. Oh, like the Grinch, well, obviously we've done the Grinch. Oh, idiot. Yeah, but yeah, that's because I haven't got. I'm just looking at them. I'm struggling now. But yeah, even like Christmas Carol as like a horror movie and things like that. It's like, oh, okay.
So I do have a question here from Dan asking, "What is
Ooh.
your favorite horror parody?"
Oh, I'll let you go first on that one.
I don't know. I'm probably just going to say the mean one, just because.
Yeah.
Eagle Entertainment might be watching.
Or you might be able to get some free DVDs.
I might be able to get another one. Yeah,
Mm.
I'm actually not
I,
too
I've
sure, Dan.
I've got one. I've got
Yeah.
one. And thank you, Dan, for the question. And apologies, people, if we haven't said hello and things like that. We will try and get to you where we can. But yeah, with horror parody, the editor. So it was, oh god, it was one of my birthdays. I went to London with my brother and his wife Haley, and it was a fantastic time. And there was a shop. Somebody had posted on a YouTube video, so we went there. It's now unfortunately gone, which is such a shame. And they had like a basement, and they were selling import like American Blu-rays,
Yeah.
and I got Cannibal Holocaust. Even though, yeah, I was like unsure, but my sister-in-law was like, "Yeah, you gotta get it, you gotta get it." She goes, "You keep eyeing it up." I was like, "All right, fine," but I got the editor, and it was one of those films I just took a chance on, and I loved it because it was hilarious. But as I've watched more Jallo movies, it's even better now. Like, it's so much fun. There is a moment they literally rip right out of oh god, I think it's The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward. So there's this weird scene where this guy takes someone out in the rain, and there's an intimate scene, and they do it, but like he starts rubbing mud across his face in the editor, and he's just like screaming, go ripping his cardigan open. And I was just like, this is like, it was such a spot on parody, and it's hilarious. It's got Udo Kier. I don't know if you're a fan of Udo Kier, but yeah,
I've watched
like,
some stuff. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, it was such an underground kind of Canadian movie. Like, Scream Factory released it, so it is just like a Region 1 DVD, Region 8 Blu-ray. But I know Monster Pictures released it over here, so they might have released it over there for you guys. But yeah, it's one of those films nobody talks about, and any chance I get, I try and get people onto that one.
So Dan has also asked what our thoughts are on the Scary Movie series and the Haunted House ones with Marlon Wayans.
Ooh. Did you want to take this one? Because I've been talking quite a lot, so.
No, no. Well, I'm the host, so you're supposed to be talking. But yeah, I actually really do like the Haunted House ones with Marlon Wayans. I think they kind of went back to the proper scary movie roots. I feel like after Scary Movie 3, it just really went downhill. There was no story to it. It was just a bunch of gags they put together with, oh, let's put a reference here and here and here. I feel like it was just didn't really gel as well as the first ones.
Yeah.
But yeah, Haunted House movies. It was Paranormal Activity was the first one. Then the other one was more based on having Annabelle, who gets really obsessed with Marlon Wayans' character. I actually thought they were hilarious. But yeah, definitely probably the first two scary movies the most. Number 3 I do enjoy, but number two and 1 and 2, if I can talk, definitely enjoy more. Yourself, have you seen them? Have you seen the Haunted House ones?
I haven't. I'm very kind of hit and miss with Marlon Wayans outside of the kind of after Scary Movie, because obviously he's kind of broken off and done his own thing. I do need to see those, so I will be making sure I watch them. But the Scary Movie franchise is where I'm at. I'm in love. Like you, the first two, cinematic genius. I do not kind of care. There's usually a gag or two I'm not a fan of, but I love their scattershot approach, that they just went for any and everything, and they really got the parodies kind of down.
Yeah.
Like yourself, I would say, like, I think I like Scary Movie 3 a little bit more than you. Scary Movie 4, trash, throw it in the bin. And Scary Movie 5, yes, I have seen Scary Movie 5, is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. It's that weird thing of Jason Friedberg. It's Friedberg and Seltzer. So they kind of co-wrote the first Scary Movie because there's like 8 credited writers, so they were kind of one of the groups writing, and they're the ones that went on to do Date Movie, Epic Movie, Disaster Movie, Vampire Suck, and all that.
Yeah,
And the problem is that it's slapstick humor that isn't funny.
yeah,
The timing's all off, yeah, and repetitive gags, and that's where the parody movie's gone. Where you look at like things like Airplane and Naked Gun, they're great comedies that had very clever jokes that can work on maybe 1 or 2 layers.
yeah.
So, and that's gone. That's gone. Somebody was talking to me about it the other day about like parody movies, and I'm like, yeah, you just. And then with the state of the world, could you go and even make films like Airplane and Naked Gun again? And it's like, I don't know.
I don't think you could. Someone is going to have something to say. There's a friend of mine who every now and then he'll ask me, if he puts something like this into a story, are people going to think that he's saying bad thing about women? If he does it the opposite way, is he gonna? Is it gonna seem like he's got too many men in his story? Like, what does he do? And I was like, just write it the way it works. People are going to complain anyway, just because they can, and just go with how it actually works. And as I said, if you watch something and you get offended, and then you continue to watch it and get offended again, that's on you.
Yeah.
It was years ago. There was a I know I'm going on a tangent, but there was a New Year's Eve live like TV show that was on, and one of the hosts was incredibly drunk. Unfortunately, he has some issues, so there's things going on there. And a lady said she got offended that he was doing what he was doing, and then she continued to watch and was offended again. And then they spoke to the comedian Rodney Rude, if you've ever heard about him. He's a pretty rough comedian, which I don't even think he could really. He still does shows, but obviously it's going to be for an older audience who actually appreciates him. Even he's like, well, she continued watching. It's her own fault she got offended. She had every opportunity to change the channel. It's on her.
Mm.
I've been talking about this with someone in the last couple of days. It's just, yeah, if it's a choice to be offended by things.
Yeah, I think Ricky Gervais summed it up perfectly. That kind of because it was like a viral video of him talking about being offended, and like it's obviously that it hits you, and I that's why like corporations like Netflix get a bad rap, and they should, but then they shouldn't as well. It's that grey area conversation you have with people. Like when I think it was a couple of years back, Jimmy Carr and Ricky Gervais had Netflix specials coming out, and the whole Netflix kind of like kind of workers were like, nah, we don't think this stuff should be put out. And they said, well, you can hand in your resignation if you like. They said, we're here to make content for everyone.
Yeah,
Just because you don't like it, and things like that should be applauded, especially now, because
yeah,
they know they're going to probably get a bad rap online for it. But it's like there are still people out there that would appreciate comedy like that. It's like, I think the beautiful thing about kind of Britain and Australia, and I think that's why we get along so well, is we're very very similar as kind of nations in that we've we go through like absolute, like our history is rubbish basically, and we've always had those moments, like we make light of those darker moments,
yeah,
and that's how we've coped, that's how we survive. And I think when younger people don't understand that, that's kind of like, well, you shouldn't. And it's like, but that's a coping mechanism for people. It's like, that's not being disrespectful. And that's why I've always loved like people like Larry David, because I remember watching, there was a trailer for season 9 of Curb Your Enthusiasm, and he had Michael J. Fox on, and I can't remember exactly. It was either like he was, I think Michael J. Fox was walking down the street, and he was obviously, his Parkinson's was quite extreme at that point, and he was like bumped into Larry, and Larry turns around and says, "Dude, you had a whole sidewalk. What's the matter with you?" And he just goes, Parkinson's. And then hearing Michael J. Fox in an interview talk about how liberating that was for him to, have those kind of moments, and I love shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm where it's like we're not picking on anybody, we're picking on everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody's the kind of, and it's that kind of approach to comedy that like it gets me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I like how we've gone from that to like politically incorrect comedy because I was going to like mention South Park, but South Park's
Yeah,
not everyone's cup of tea.
yeah,
I still think it's pretty much like on par with like its brilliant writing and just making fun of absolutely everyone and everything. Just because there are bad things happening in the world, we need to have a laugh at some things that just don't need to be that serious sometimes. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah. And I mean, look how successful that is,
Hmm.
considering the content that they talk about and how they talk about it. It's like you even there have been episodes where even I've gone, "Ooh, okay, Matt." Like, but again, it's that scattershot approach to it where they're not just going right. The kind of we're going to pick on just one person, and it feels like bullying. It's that
Yeah.
scattershot approach where it feels like we've noticed things and we're making a commentary on it in a very comedic way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else was I going to ask? I feel like I honestly feel like I rushed this one just to try and fit it in before Christmas. But then again, I feel like we've already mentioned the Christmas movies.
You're all right. You're all right. But this is the thing. It was like I was going to mention to you, like, because I've been listening to like podcasts and things like that, and they've been talking about like seasonal horror. Yeah, like seasonal horror. So, okay, what are some of your favorite other seasonal horror movies? So you got like Valentine's Day, Father's Day, Mother's Day.
April Fool's Day.
Yes, I mean that one kind of speaks for itself.
Oh yeah.
April Fool's Day, yeah.
But also out of those ones, being another April Fool's one is going to be Slaughter High, which I've mentioned before as like one of my favorite guilty
Yes.
pleasure movies.
Yeah.
So much. I'm actually going to do an episode of guilty pleasure movies, and I'm going to be talking about that because I love it so much.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Slaughter High?
I think I have, but I do need to go back to that one because I can't remember
Definitely.
it. I genuinely can't remember it. But yeah, no,
It had
it's
something
horribly.
like 3 or 4 directors, and you're like, too many chefs in the kitchen, seriously. But
Yeah.
it's just that it was so dumb. That's why I love it so much. It's like houseboat horror. That's why I love it so much.
Yeah.
Have you had a
Oh.
chance to watch houseboat horror yet?
Oh no, I've seen it. I've seen
Yeah.
it. I've definitely seen it. Yeah, because whenever you recommend something to me, I'm like, right, I need to put it on the list, and it's quite high. So I remember you sent me that link. God, I don't know, it was like ages ago. I was like, right, I'm putting aside a day, and I put aside a day, watched it, and I was like, oh, Shell, what is this? I don't know, and
So
then
stupid. You think Alan
but
Dale still got that on his CV? Seriously? No
yeah.
fucking way.
Yeah, it is. It was just one of those films where you go, "Wow, what has gone on here?" But reminding me of that, there's one I've got from Agfa called Blood Lake, and if you ever get a chance, I don't know how easy it is to access that one. You would love that. It reminded me of Houseboat Horror, where what was it? I think what was it with like Houseboat Horror? There's plenty of houseboat, not much horror. With Blood Lake, there's plenty of lake, but there's not much blood in it, and it was just like it's kind of an American simile, it's very similar. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I think Shell would like this one. So
Sounds like my jam, seriously. Because
honestly, the poster is fantastic for it. It is. But have you seen Thanksgiving?
no, I haven't had a chance to see it.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, because I haven't, because my local cinema hates me. So yeah, they didn't get it, and I don't understand why. Because it was like we've got like literally teens and old people, and it would have been great for like the teens, and I would have gone at least like 2-3 times for it if it was really good. Like, but no, we didn't
The
get it, so I
cinema
can't
near
wait.
me, the one closest to my work, I remember I wanted to go see Insidious 4 when it was out, and all it was showing was 16 sessions of Barbie every day, 12 sessions of Oppenheimer, and a couple of Mission Impossibles. And I was like, what, the horror people get nothing? Like, what the hell? And then I found out that it was only playing locally at one cinema. Actually, it was called Jam Factory. It's basically just a deserted mall that's only just got a cinema. I don't understand how it still functions at all, because it's like there's no shops there anymore. But yeah, it's like a popular place. Maybe it's really cheap for people to rent out for like screenings or something like that. But yeah, it's just Barbie and Oppenheimer. I want to watch them. I haven't seen them yet, but just I wanted to watch Red
You
Door.
haven't seen Red Door yet. You haven't seen Red Door.
Not yet.
Okay, because I have. We had like HMV over here, which would be your like JB Hi-Fi.
Yeah.
They had like some crazy Black Friday deals. I went in and I got it with 20% off, because I was like, because all the stuff I've heard about the movie, I was like, okay, I want to try and get this reduced, and it was interesting. It was interesting. I'm gonna be very polite in saying I think Insidious should have ended after part 2. Three I struggle with. Last Key has some really interesting kind of scare moments.
Yeah.
And Red Door is really well directed by Patrick Wilson. I do not want to have a go at that, but the storyline was just strange. And it's like it's a horror movie at an hour and 47 minutes as well. And I was really, when it ends, it just ends, and I was like, all right, because I knew it had ended because Ghost came on with Stay, and I was like, thank the movie for that, because that cover is incredible. But yeah, I'll talk to you more about it when you've seen it. But yeah.
I don't remember seeing this part. Is it still written by like Lee Whannell and James Wan, or was it different people who wrote this one?
Lee Whannell is credited with a story, but it was written by Scott Steams. So it was written by somebody else, and it shows. I think.
Yeah.
I think, but I will say there are connections to the legacy of Insidious. So it's. Other than like the kind of family, it was such a strange one, because I never kind of felt like the movie kicked in, like ever. Yeah, it was one of those things where you kind of feel like, right, okay, cool, I'm in the movie, and the film just never really got into gear, and then it ends. But I will say there's a new character in it that I absolutely love, but I don't want to keep like spoiling it, but yeah, because I know what I'm like. I'll keep talking and then it'll be like, oh god, I've just spoiled the film. But I hope you enjoy it. I really do hope you enjoy it, because I'm glad I had my expectations tempered a little bit, because it was like, but
see, it's such a shame, because when number 2 started, obviously it's moments after the first one. You were in that straight away, because you already knew what story that you were getting involved in. And yeah, that's such a shame to actually come back to that family and just not pay off. Because I actually can't watch the first 2 movies without watching them together. Like it has to be together. Otherwise, to me, it's not the complete story.
I think the problem is it's partially like James Wan, like because I've just recently listened to a podcast with him, and he talks about his entire career, and it's brilliant. But I feel like James Wan is the solution to horror, but he's also a problem, right?
Yeah.
Because the guy is so bloody talented that he makes these great movies like Insidious, Conjuring, and all that, and Saw. But then he disappears. And I don't blame him, because even he says, like, I get to a point where I feel like I've mined everything that I want to mine. Where do I go? And I'm like, great. But then they continue the franchise without him, and you feel it. You feel the loss. And it's like, oh no. Like, because that's the problem. Like, Insidious, after James goes, never feels the same. Conjuring definitely doesn't feel the same. And that one for me is one franchise I think should just be scrapped now. I really do,
The
but it just
Conjuring
makes,
series.
yeah, it just makes too much money. My problem with it is they like the problem with like the MCU is they're so structured with a story that you're just waiting for the next chapter. Whereas The Conjuring is the complete opposite, where you feel like they are just making each one up, and then they're going in and retconning things in previous movies to make it fit into each kind of movie. And you just go, oh. And again, another problem with the Conjuring movies I've had personally is they focus on a singular creature like Annabelle, the nun, and it's like, where was the Crooked Man movie? People want to see that. Why haven't we branched out a little bit further away from those? But
Yeah, when you watch something like Annabelle Comes Home, when they have like a bit of like their 13 ghosts moment where there's like all these artifacts get released from the room, they're gonna try and put them back. I'm thinking, how many movies have you just foreshadowed? Okay, we're gonna have the Fairyman, we're gonna have this, we're gonna have this and this and this. Was it them kind of like seeing what kind of reaction they could get to those particular characters? Okay, we'll make that the next one. But still, yeah, you're correct that we still didn't get our Crooked Man one, and they've been talking about it for a very long time. Which I'd prefer to see a Crooked Man one than another Nun one, because I wasn't the biggest fan of the first one. The first Annabelle, very, very rushed. I did like the second. The Annabelle Comes Home, it was okay. But I want my Fairyman movie now. Considering he's been mentioned in more than just the Conjuring universe, he's been mentioned in movies like From Hell. Where's the Fairyman? There's so much you can do with that one.
yeah, especially with the coins on the eyes, like that is an image.
There's such a great mythology just behind the story of him in general. So, yeah, no. Instead of doing another Annabelle, instead of doing another Nun, because I don't see me rushing out to go see this new one. To be honest, I didn't really think that much of the other one, but like she was like the character of Valak was great in Conjuring 2. Don't get me wrong. Like just that moment when they're at home and their daughter just points like at her, who's she, at the end of the hallway, and the nun's just standing there. Yeah, fantastic, but I didn't think she was that great a character to get us our own series.
No.
Sorry if anyone thinks I'm wrong here, but yeah, sorry.
That's all right. That's what we're here for, because it's like, yeah, like it's great to kind of chat about these kind of things, because it's like with The Conjuring and that it's it's a strange franchise, and then it's like they've just announced like the Warren TV spin-off. They're going to do a Conjuring 4, and I'm like, yeah, but you've still got all this mythology and all these kind of other creatures. Let's go. Like, and like you say, Annabelle Comes Home really sets up is a big stepping stone for them. But
yeah, it was like 15 potential spin-offs they could go with that, but yet they just go with the Nun again. Did it really do that well for you to give her another movie? I don't know. I don't know anyone who liked the first one.
No. See, I didn't mind it, but again, what I did is I watched it years removed from anything. So what I try and do now is, because I don't go to the cinema theatrically much anymore, what I love to do is I love to go and watch movies kind of like later, try and remove myself from the hype and anything surrounding the movie that I feel like would kind of taint an experience. So yeah, it's like that one I watched years later and I was like, cool, that was great, and I kept the box set, and then I just noticed it one day and I was sitting there going, I'm never going to watch these again. So I just sold them. Because I was like, yeah, I like the first two Conjuring movies, and I, like you say, like Annabelle's okay. I really thought Annabelle Creation was really, really interesting, and then I loved Annabelle Comes Home, but then you're like, okay, well there, and then I liked Conjuring 3, but you could feel James's kind of presence not there, and then what else was there? Yeah,
they
like
almost tried to capture it because it ended up being Lee Wanell ended up directing the third one. So
Mm,
maybe Lee thought he could probably capture it in the same way, but still give his own flair to it. But I do find that it's the weakest of the ones that I've seen.
yeah. Yeah, it's and that's the thing. Like ever since Lee kind of branched off, and it was because he did Insidious 3, but that was his like first directorial kind of movie.
Mm.
So I've never gone like, okay, Lee's a bad director. I waited till what was when he did Upgrade. That was
Mm.
it. He did Upgrade, and I was like, whoa, okay. And then does The Invisible Man. So I'm like, okay, mate, you can do anything now. Like
It's the
I'm there.
Melbourne boys. That's why they went to school in the city, mate. Like
Yeah.
it's just Australian brilliance. What can I say? It's just
Oh,
that, of course, then when
oh,
there's some brilliance in it, America's like, ooh, money, and then they take it and then they squeeze every little last drop out of it. I actually don't even know how the Saw films are still doing well, because I feel like the further and further they went on, I'm just like, okay, I can't anymore. It's just kind of gross for the sake of gross.
yeah.
I can't get
But
into
then
it.
have you seen Saw X?
No, not yet.
Okay, because I watched it last night. I do not know how many people have said like it's fantastic because I like so fun kind of story is so I rented the first one and then my cinema started playing this no, I had to rent the first two and then my cinema started doing three onwards. So I was like, right, and then I used to sneak my little brother into the movies and we would do this thing every year, like it was a big thing. And once because we did the third one, I said, we'd walk home and I say, oh, what did you think of it? He was like, it was rubbish. He says, I don't want to see it, I don't want to do it anymore. And then Saw 4 was announced. I was like, mate, we've got to do it, we've got to do Saw 4 theatrically. And it went on every single year. And then, obviously, once the final one ended, he said, "Oh, thank God it's over. I'll never do that again." And then when Jigsaw came out, he was like, "Rich, why don't we do this? We got to keep the tradition going."
Yeah.
So we went, and very much to your point is, I actually walked out, and he was like, "Oh," so I said, "What did you think of it?" He went, "Oh, it's rubbish." And I said, "Yeah, I agree." And he went, "What?" Because it was the first time I didn't like. It was the first time I didn't like a Saw movie, and he was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah, man. I again, it was that movie. If I'm not mistaken, takes place right before Saw 1, and you're dealing with lasers, another apprentice." Like these people just keep coming out of the woodwork, and it just muddies the mythology so much. Then I saw Spiral, and I was like, oh, I know it's from the Book of Saw, but it just felt like a subpar thriller with Saw elements that didn't gel for me. And then I saw Saw X last night, and I'm telling you now, it is the return to form for this series. It
Okay.
is it is finally the return to form. And I literally went on a rampage, like just moaning last night. I just went, how is it that a franchise as long as Saw finally, like, so you think, right, 10 installments in, they have now finally made a movie about the guy the franchise is about. Think about that. Like, we finally get the film with Jigsaw and like
Yeah.
Amanda and things like that, and the kind of conversations we've always heard, rumored about, but we actually see them. And I went, that's stupid. Like it's taken them that long, and I know I know that they've just announced Saw 11,
Yeah.
and I did see there was like I don't know whether or not it's an Easter egg or it was a complete thing. There's a document in the movie and they focus on 12. And I did say like if they did another two movies and finish it at Saw 12 in the franchise for good, I'd be happy. I think if you could do another three with the quality that I saw last night in Saw X, I'm down. I'm down because there was a villain in Saw X that genuinely like I was ready to drop kick this person off a bridge. I really was. Oh god. No, I'm not. It was an expression. I'm sorry, TikTok.
It's an expression,
Yeah,
TikTok gods.
It is. It is. Genuinely made my blood boil, and I was like, finally, we're now getting that kind of real creative energy back into the franchise. So it's like great.
Was it James and Lee back for that? I actually don't
No,
remember
no,
studying. Oh, so it wasn't.
no. So James left after the first one, but became an executive producer. And that way he gets money. You know, he gets money every time they make the movies and stuff because he went on to do Dead Silence and
Yeah.
obviously have the career. Lee stayed on for the first three, and then he's gone, and then they then switch writers to Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton, who did the Collector series. And then they did it till Saw 7, and now they've got two new writers called, sorry,
You're right.
Peter Goldfinger and Josh Stolberg. So they're now kind of the stalwarts that are doing the kind of franchise. They wrote the last three.
Oh, okay. So it looks like it's actually taken actual fans to go, you know what, this is what I actually want to see him do,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
this is what I know that other fans want to see.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
kind of writers that you actually need, someone who actually understands it and goes, no, well, you know, just because you want to, as a producer or executive, want to show this, no, I can tell you, the audience actually wants this. Looks like
yeah.
they've done it
'Cause
right.
I watched the making of last night, and I would hate to, even though I don't like Jigsaw, which they wrote. I now don't blame any of them for the problems of that movie because hearing how they write a Saw movie makes my blood boil because they write it. So imagine this: so you're a writer and you want to tell an interesting story. They not only have the Twisted Picture guys, so you've got two producers there. You've then got Lionsgate producers, which are about four or five of them, and they all sit in a room. And then you've got the director as well. So that's at least a room of 12 people, all bashing out a story. Like, like how any of these can be good is a miracle, and that's why I don't really kind of blame the last kind of couple because it's like okay, they Lionsgate are trying to put everything back into this franchise, but I do think that there is a time that they do need to just say, right, we're done. Let's focus on a new franchise because
Exactly.
you know Tobin Bell. Unfortunately, I don't want to be morbid, but we've only got so many more movies left with him, and it's like cool. Let's don't keep worrying about books of Saw and things like that. Let's make a new interesting franchise. Let's send him out on a high. Couple
Yeah.
more movies with him like this that are great. Boom.
Well, Nick here actually just said that the collector was originally going to be Saw 2,
Ah,
which I did not know
because I
that.
know. No, I know that they were looking at a kind of couple of other scripts and stuff, and then Darren's script, which then Lee rewrote. That's what got Darren Lynn Bousman on, who did Saw 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, I love that franchise, but yeah, the last two have been.
It,
But
it's making a movie for making the sake of a movie, and it really does
yeah,
affect everything over like in the end. Because I don't know, like I tried rewatching the whole series a couple of months ago. I think I only did about, I think I did four of them. It was,
yeah,
I don't know, maybe sometimes I'm just not in the right mindset to watch just because I've been at work. Sometimes I don't want to have a movie I've got to really focus on to watch, some background noise maybe. But then it was like overlapping just because, Jigsaw was dead, and it's kind of like, okay, well, he has to be alive because we have to have all these new tapes and stuff like that. So we'll overlap, and well, this is happening, and you're like, I don't know what's fucking going on anymore. Like, what the hell, kind of thing.
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe I'm just not
yeah,
paying attention properly. I'm just like, that's happening at the same time as this, and fucking just, and also because they're all like actors we don't know, you don't recognize them
yeah,
most of the time, and you're like, what? Was he in the last one? I don't remember. What the hell is this kind of
yeah,
thing? Like, yeah, I find them a little confusing. Like, I do have them. I think I actually got them bought for Christmas. So it's like a big set, like with all of them before they released X, but I haven't watched them all because I feel like sometimes it's just gross for the sake of gross. Like I have like the Hostel movies, but I've only watched the first one, which I do enjoy. It was something I was like, what the hell am I watching? But then I know they're going to go gross for the sake of gross to just up that, and sometimes I just find a little unnecessary.
Yeah, Hostel 2 has a scene that like when you watch it, we'll talk about it because I can't talk about it on live.
Yeah,
But
I have a feeling you probably
yeah, it's exactly what you're talking about. There was like a run of movies that had scenes very similar to this, like the one scene I'm thinking of, and it was just being absolutely kind of really gross just to be gross. Like I always call it like it's
Is
like
this like someone having a
a very
shower? Is this the one you're referring to?
no.
No.
No, this involves a dog. This involves a dog, and so it's right at the end of the movie, yeah. And it's basically there was kind of a run of these where they would do like intense shock moments, and it's like a cheap shock,
Yeah.
and it just feels really gross, but also very very kind of false to the movie.
Yeah.
But talking of that, like, what's a franchise that you love, like horror franchise?
Is that the real question? You know what
Yeah.
that is? A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, it is a Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, yeah. Because I didn't know. Because obviously I didn't know if
Have
there
you
was
never
like any
never
other
met
ones
before?
or
Like what?
yeah. No, 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 no. Because I literally when we were talking, I was like, oh god, like a franchise question, like that would be good. And then yeah,
Yeah, it's always
yeah,
going to be Freddy, but close behind that is Candyman. Just
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's probably because Candyman and Freddy are just very similar. They live in like you okay?
yeah. No, no, no. You're right. I'm
Your
old. I'm
foot's
old.
asleep.
So I've been sitting in the same. Yeah, I'm sitting in the same position for a while, so it's all
Yeah,
good. Don't worry.
no, you're all good. Yeah, like they both live in like in a universe where fear keeps them alive, essentially. Which I really like the idea of that. But then after that would probably be Scream. Yes, I know it's another Wes Craven, but then again, the opening to Scream scared the hell out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh.
Freddy,
Yeah,
Candyman, Ghostface.
yeah, I think I definitely asked the wrong question because I just had Resident Evil in my mind because I've been watching that a lot recently. And that
Resident
was
Evil's
it. So it was
good.
like, or even like a franchise, yeah, that is kind of like maybe flawed or something. I can't think of it now, but yeah, like, but no, they're great. Obviously, great questions because I feel like I've now just repeated what we did on the last one.
That's okay. Not everyone's watched it. I know
Yeah.
someone who watched the whole thing. Who watched. I think they listened to it yesterday. But other than that, I
Oh
don't.
my days.
I
No.
don't stream it to get my views up.
No, 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 no,
Wouldn't,
no.
wouldn't
Like
you do
it's
anything
like
like
me.
that?
It's like oh, like underrated franchise. Yeah, thank you, Jenna. I do appreciate. Yeah, like so, what would be like an underrated franchise? There you go. Like that. That's a great
Underrated.
question. Thank you. Yeah. It's like I'm not coherent this time of morning. I mean, I don't think I'm coherent any time of morning, but But like an underrated
Underrated.
franchise. Oh, see that's a good one. Or even say like also like an underrated franchise, but a franchise that isn't good all the way through. Because it's like I've just looked at the Purge. Like I hate Purge 1, 4, and 5, but I love 2 and 3. Like they're amazing. The ones with Frank Grillo. Like yeah,
I wasn't the biggest fan of the first one simply because it was too big of an idea to be stuck in such a small location. And then when
yeah.
they took it outside, the number two, an election
Oh
year, I loved to bits. Like I actually wanted to be. Well, granted, it's not her name, but I wanted to dress up as Candy Girl for Halloween one year, and I was like, I can't walk around with like a bedazzled firearm in the street.
yeah. Always had it. Oh,
Rated.
oh,
Because I do
oh
enjoy
no.
like Paranormal Activity. I feel like they started really well and just really dwindled off because it would have just been okay to just be like, okay, this demon likes Katie because it just likes her. And then
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
oh, there's a reason, there's a coven, there's this. You're like, oh, why do you have to make, it doesn't have to have a reason. It makes it scarier without a reason.
Yeah, yeah, with the Paranormal Activity movies, because I kept waiting for like answers, but they would just keep asking more questions, and I was like, right,
Yeah.
cool, that's not for me. That's not for me. You know.
And then there's like the one off they did that was made more for like a Latino audience because it's very popular in Mexico
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Which I actually don't mind that particular one, but yeah, I feel like the more that they try to add to the mythology, the more they just don't answer anything. They just leave you like it's not leaving you wanting more. It's kind of like, can you at least answer something? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, yeah,
Oh dear.
I do enjoy like the Psycho series, as I've already mentioned before.
Oh, that's a good one. That is a good one.
That all four of them are so good.
Yeah.
So I've got
Um.
Phantasm there. I don't hear too many people outside of like close knit horror people talking about Phantasm. Like it doesn't just pop up
Oh
as
yeah.
regularly as like most other horror movies do.
Thank you. That's right. Yeah. No. T Lee has just joined. Hello. And yeah. Oh God. So I love the See No Evil movies, and it's one of the ones where I feel like the sequel is better than the original. I do, and I know that's blasphemous because I think the first one was definitely shot in Australia. So I'm sorry. I that's nothing. I do love Australian movies.
Was
Please
it
do
filmed
not
in
hate me.
Queensland though? Because sometimes I think they're better than, and yeah, Queensland and Sydney think they're a bit better than everyone else. But
All right. Well, if it is, then that's fine. That's right. Yeah. Queensland. Oh.
Also a question from Dan asking thoughts on the Grindhouse films, as in Planet Terror and Death Proof.
Ooh. No, come on, come on. You've got to go first.
I
I,
think it
I've,
really
I've,
depends on the version that you watch. For some reason, when they released it here, or they only released Death Proof as a theatrical release, we didn't get Planet Terror on its own. I know it was really weird. I think it's they released it around the same time they did in America, so it was like around Easter. Probably not the best thing to release on a holiday, but yeah, we only just got that release because it was a Tarantino movie. I don't think many people would have gone for a Rodriguez movie unless it was one of the Spy Kids movies.
yeah.
And I had to go all the way out to St Kilda, which is granted it's only like 40 minutes away from here, but went to a place called the Astor, the only place in Victoria that was playing it in its entirety with the trailers and the cuts and everything like that. I actually quite love it. I do think that Death Proof is a little too wordy for the format, if you know what I mean, just because this Quentin Tarantino just is very wordy with his scripts. It does play better being the shorter version of it that you find in the Grindhouse double feature. It's just I'm pretty sure in the double feature they took out the dance that she
Yes.
does, yeah, which is annoying because I like that dance. I like that song. Like the amount
That
of
is
times I've
great.
listened to that soundtrack is ridiculous. Like as soon as like there's another Tarantino soundtrack, I'm if possible to wear out a CD when I was still buying them, I'll wear it out.
Oh,
But I
brilliant.
do
Sorry.
like
Yeah.
Grindhouse better than the
Yeah,
separates.
Jen Grace just says, "Oh, sorry." Just says, "I saw them together in the theater when they came out. Fun time, but I don't like them much." Sorry. Yeah. Sorry about that. But yeah. No.
Yeah. So
I
yes,
put.
seeing in the entirety, seeing him with the mock trailers as well, just made it
Yes.
such a good experience. And it's really cool to think now that one of those, well, granted now two of them have turned into movies with Machete and now Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And Eli
Yeah.
Ross all happy because now he's about to create his own horror franchise with Thanksgiving because he got the green light to do number two. Good
Yeah.
on him. I'm really happy for him actually.
Yeah, considering how long it's taken him, he had the idea when he was 14, so I think he's now in his 40s, so it's taken a while.
So we just need to get Edgar Wright on so to make Don't. I know he
Yeah,
said that he
oh,
won't, but he better.
yeah, yeah. He's the last one holding. Yeah, but I agree with him because Don't is a great concept for a trailer, but not a. I think as a movie, I don't think it would. don't I don't think it would work.
Right.
No, because
You don't?
because it's a series of scenarios that you just go don't, and then it's a shock, and then I could be proven wrong, but you know, I yeah, Grindhouse was something I was eagerly anticipating. Like, I cannot stress how much I was ready for that movie. And then, sorry if anybody's from America, but the Americans basically bollocks it up, to because
He said it, not me.
fun story was apparently everyone watched Planet Terror, and then as soon as Planet Terror finished, they all walked out the theater. That was so nobody saw Death Proof. So the Weinsteins had always planned to have the 3 hour experience and roadshow that, and then do each one individually as the extended kind of cuts. So once it bombed in America, and mind you, they put $50 million into that movie, they were like, okay, we need to just, the UK basically got the Planet Terror and Death Proof, but the extended cuts, the individual ones, and it took us like 5 years after the movie to get the Blu-ray of Grindhouse.
Yeah.
I enjoy both. So Grindhouse and the individual movies for different reasons. Like you say, each one has extended moments that are great, and the kind of Grindhouse cut has all the trailers and adverts that are fantastic. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
But how do I feel about the movies? I love the movies. Like, I recently rewatched Planet Terror, and it flies. It is just a great gross out John Carpenter-esque slice of kind of 80s zombie action. Then you've got Death Proof, and that's the one that I've been defending lately, because I've gone back and revisited that, because like yourself, when I first kind of watched it, I sat there and I went, what is this movie? Like, it's not a horror movie, and it's this, and then the way that the kind of stuntman Mike, especially by the end of the movie, you're like, that doesn't track in my head how it's gone. But after seeing a lot of 60s kind of women on revenge movies, like the Russ Meyer kind of Vixen movies, you go, I've got it. Now. Like, now in my head, I know exactly kind of, or even like the Roger Corman kind of female action-led movies. You go, right, he was taking kind of two subgenres, mashed them together, because he gives you a great kind of slasher movie at the beginning, and then gives you that kind of revenge aspect. But I think the only thing that fails Death Proof in my eyes is that they use Zoe Bell as Zoe Bell. So I'm a bit zoned out when the action sequences take place with her on the hood of the car, because you're like, well, she's a stunt woman. I kind of, you've already teed that up.
Yeah.
So I think if she was a fictionalized character, I think that would have played a little bit better.
That moment when she's on the hood of the car, or the bonnet,
Yeah.
and she like spins around and like faces her, I was like, oh my god, like I lost my mind. But
the bit that gets me is the bit where she's got the pole, and then jumps into literally jumps onto the kind of like where the window for the car is, and then it like a chariot. I was like, oh yeah, this is good.
So, had another one from Dan saying, even though it's sci-fi, could you fit Terminator as somewhat of a horror, or at least a thriller? Original 84 one. Because him and I are actually talking about AI stuff, because pretty much saying how those apps where you can just use them to write your essays is just Skynet going live to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
too much.
It's that time. I definitely think the first one's more of a horror movie than anything else. It's they called it, like, I know the bar's called tech noir, but that's what they were kind of commenting on in the movie, is like technology gone, kind of dark. I definitely think that first one's a horror movie, and I think the franchise is a horror movie, and I think that's why it's stood the test of time. I mean, even The Matrix now is a horror movie, because you think of, like, when you first watch it, it's like just big ideas, but as we progress as society, those ideas are now catching up, and you're like, oh right, this was actually just commentary.
Yeah. And it's interesting to think that that one was more of a horror, and the second one being more of an action, because you get the exact same thing with the Alien franchise. Because as much
Yeah,
as people want to say that Alien is a is like a sci-fi movie, it is a horror movie. It is terrifying to watch that. And unfortunately, Sigourney Weaver's Alan Ripley seems to be forgotten as the ultimate action female hero because
yeah,
apparently only Charlie's Angels or Jennifer Lawrence is that person. Sigourney Weaver led the way, people. And how is
yeah,
it you forget? Thank you,
yeah.
Ryan.
Even with like Linda Hamilton, like Sarah Connor gets credited that, and it's like, yeah, Sigourney Weaver was there about 5 years before. It was about 5 years because about 1984 Terminator,
Yeah.
1984. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Everyone
it's
seems
about
to
five
forget
years
that
before.
Sigourney was there. She led the way. And just, like, she has not been a character that anyone has ever said anything bad about,
Yeah,
to be
and
honest.
it's
Because
yeah,
someone was talking about the other day, I was watching a friend's Twitch stream, he was talking about the hero's journey. And then I said to him, like, yeah, but have you, there's like the heroine's journey as well. And he's like, oh, it's the same thing. I'm like, it's a bit more involved. But you find that the movie Aliens actually follows it to a T. It perfectly follows it. But is there ever a moment that you're watching that where you go, oh, I don't like her. I don't like her. She's boring. She's this and that. You're trying to force, strong female leads on me. No, you follow that formula correctly, and you'll create the greatest female hero ever.
yeah,
But for some reason, they don't want to do that anymore. I'd prefer to see
yeah,
a big bunch of Ellen Ripleys on my screen.
yeah. Bringing that up, it brings me to a really great point, which is I don't know if anybody following knows, like, screenwriter, screenwriter. So we write movies and things like that, and that's I kind of feel like that because I found you through like our love of movies, but then we obviously, yeah, we do chat about things like that, and I'd love to get your opinion on this, which is the conversation about strong characters, like the word that always, yeah, is strong female characters.
Yeah.
I think that's absolute bull. Anybody who kind of says to me like, oh, this film had a really strong female character, and I'll watch the movie and I'll look at it, and usually they're written like a guy. Like, that's not a strong female character. Like, for me, I'm hoping we get to a point where we can actually say a strong character. And the one thing I always try and incorporate into stories or things I'm working on is, because this is something I truly believe is, if I'm dealing with say like male female characters, I will always try and have a moment where there's vulnerability for any character. So they are vulnerable, whether or not it's crying or they're in a moment of kind of they're down, and then usually anger, and I always try and have a happy moment.
Yeah.
And the reason I always try and do things like that is because it's human, because that's, whether or not, the gender or the kind of ethnicity or whatever you kind of put the character as, humanity always has those kind of base emotions, and that's a character. That's a strong character where you can face problems, you can be happy, you can be sad, you can be angry, you can, determined, and I feel like that's something that gets missed. Like, I've really been enjoying, there's a recent run of like rom-coms lately, like Elemental was another film as well, but there was a rom-com recently, and I really enjoyed it because the guy was the emotional character in that movie, or in that an Elemental, and I was sitting there going, that's actually really great. Even though the emotions were heightened a bit, I was like, that's fantastic, because I've never really seen that and I can relate to that. So it's like, great, we're now kind of getting the flip side to that.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah,
it is a good idea that they actually do have male characters that show vulnerability, because men aren't always, going to be on, if you know what I mean. Like, there is points where they have to be human, because it's what we all are. Because I remember watching, someone sent me a video of a man saying, like, it was something about, like, why is it when a woman does something wrong and a man says something about it, why is it that if he picks up on it, he said something wrong for saying it back and whatnot? or it gets twisted to make him seem like he's done something wrong. Where we're all got the capability of feeling, of doing crappy things to each other. We've all got the capability of feeling bad and stuff like that. Like, why does it always have to be the guys who do something wrong? And going on a tangent. But then again, when it comes to this strong female lead thing, which I really hate the phrasing, is that if she's a strong female lead, we will tell by watching it. It's like if someone goes, I'm an alpha male. You don't need to tell us you're alpha. We'll see that you're an alpha male.
Yeah.
So why do you have to keep pushing, oh, but it's a strong female lead? Now, if you watch Return of the King, if anyone hasn't watched it in the live, this is on you because it's been out for ages.
Yeah.
Miranda Aldo's character, is it Arwen? Was it?
Yeah.
Is that her character? The moment when she's told, no man can kill me, and she takes off her mask and says, I am no man. The freaking theater went nuts.
Yeah.
And it worked just because she was a likable freaking character. And if anything, well, following that, she actually was following a bit of like the heroine's journey where she had that separation from the feminine because she was learning how to sword fight. Then she had the return of like coming back to being feminine and almost being motherly because she kept, was it Pippin or Mary so close to herself?
Yeah.
She followed the formula and it worked.
Yeah.
But I don't know why anyone doesn't want to follow it anymore. I don't know if it's going to take a little bit extra, time to actually learn how to do it. Maybe actually have some talent or something like that. But sorry, I just saw your face and I was like, oh my god, what did I say?
Sorry, yeah. David just said Viola Davis in The Woman King. Sorry. I do apologise.
Yeah.
But yeah,
it's just. If anyone's a strong female lead, you don't need to shove it in our face. When it came to the release of the Charlie's Angels trailer, sorry Elizabeth Banks, but I'm going to have some things to say. And I'm a woman, maybe I'm allowed to say it. Watching the trailer, I loved the ones with Cameron Diaz, Drew Barrymore, Lucy Liu. I loved them to bits. Like Charlie's Angels was my first ever DVD I own, which I still have. Love those movies, they were good, they were fun. Was never shoved in our face that they were strong female characters. I watched the trailer for the newest one with Kristen Stewart. She's not someone who deters me from watching a movie. I watched Spencer and I absolutely adored it. The moment Elizabeth Banks comes out on screen, she goes, oh, I'm Bosley. I was like, you just lost me, and I can tell you've lost about 60% of your viewing audience just then. Because you had to replace a male character with a female. I know that you're going to say that Bosley is just like a position, it's a job. Anyone can do it, yes you can, but you just kind of smacked us in the face with it. And you need to be a bit more subtle with the way that you do this. And then she got up on stage. I don't know what award she got. It wasn't like a Lifetime Achievement Award. It was like some award she got where she then called out Steven Spielberg for not having female leads in his movie. And then someone screamed out, The Colour Purple. Oh, yeah, Colour Purple. Yeah, he did have that. Not realising that he's currently working on 2 films with female leads, one of them being Meryl Streep. And he was also executive producer on Smash, with 2 female leads making a play about the ultimate female lead, Marilyn Monroe.
Oh.
Yeah. Told you. Tangent. But you just make the character good. Don't be like, well, you have to like her because she's female, or you didn't like her because she was female. Make her a likable character. It's really not that hard to do.
Yeah, I've got some. So Jen Grace now has just said, Pop Culture Detective has some great YouTube videos. Thank you. I will definitely check them out. But also added the point, strong female characters aren't meant to be strong, though. They are meant to be complexly written. And again, you can say that about any character. And that's where I feel like movies we're heading towards, if you get me. We're heading towards it. I feel like we've had a rough kind of 4 years, but we're getting there. Society has changed so quickly. Everyone's kind of just try to play catch up fast, but then you watch things like Past Lives, which I recently rewatched. Not only do you have the best writing for 2 central characters that I've ever seen, we're getting there, people, and it's about damn time. It's great.
I just like the fact someone just dumped a comment saying, I'm Elizabeth's biggest fan. That was my sister. She's being a smartass.
Oh, right. Hello, hello. I'm the weird English guy she talks to. Yes. Hello.
But yeah, I just, if someone's a strong character, you never need to announce it. The audience will see it.
Yeah, I mean, with the Arwen point, I think it works because it's that kind of rally cry at that moment. It never felt out of place, like you say. It's like it's that moment where the character's kind of like like you feel like you say has been kind of in the background. Like her dad doesn't even really kind of see her as a warrior, and it's that moment where you feel like, right, now I've taken on the mantle, that potentially she can become queen later on in the movie, after in the next stage, or for
Yeah.
the Rohirrim, and you're just like, beautiful, beautiful writing, beautiful.
Yeah. I seriously, I remember watching that and then I rewatched it. I foolishly did a marathon at the Asta of all three extended editions in one day. I will never go back to Middle Earth. I cannot do it.
No, no, I don't
I
blame
can
you.
never do it again. And if it wasn't funny enough that every time there was a meme moment of, like the hobbits they're taking the hobbits to Isengard, or you got the whole one is not simply walking to Mordor. There was three levels of laughter for that. There was the people who knew it was coming, the people laughing as it was said, and the people afterwards going, "Ah, that's where it's from."
Yeah.
But yeah, that moment with her, once
Yeah.
again, everyone was just so happy. Just the uproar of just yes from people. So good.
Oh,
But
no.
she was never smacked in our face that she was going to be. Well, granted, I don't know. I didn't know the story of Lord of the Rings beforehand. I had no idea how she was going to end things for everyone, and look what she did.
Yeah. No, no, that's fantastic. And yeah, no, that character is just like I'm the same kind of with Harry Potter. I don't like Harry Potter that much. Kind of everything around it, like aside. Like I like them, but yeah, for me,
Good thing my
Lord of the
sister
Rings.
left because she probably would have said something.
No, 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 no. I'm sorry, but like Lord of the Rings was my kind of like franchise. That trilogy that fantasy kind of trilogy. Because I had Star Wars, but then obviously I went into Lord of the Rings. But like Lord of the Rings, I do. But yeah, I don't know. I've wanted to do the triple bill in a day of all the extended editions, but then you're like, can I? I love watching my Blu-rays because I get like a nice intermission, and I try and do
Yeah.
one a day. That's great, but yeah, I don't know if I could do that. But
But much because it's a double leveled theater. But because my friends wanted to rock up late, we were all like third row at the bottom, so we're pretty much like that the entire time. And I was like, no, I can't do this. Why do we have to wait so long? And just yeah, everyone's telling me, have you watched The Hobbit? No, I never will. I refuse to return to Middle Earth. I will not do it ever again.
great. I've got a great segue because obviously we've been talking about we're talking about Christmas and everything. Yeah, what is your favorite kind of non-Christmas movie that you love to watch at Christmas? Because obviously, like Lord of the Rings and like Harry Potter, are always watched this time of year. So it doesn't have to be them, but anything like that
Was they say
you
anything
love.
that's not Christmas or another Christmas movie that's not horror?
Yeah, it's so it would be not Christmas in the sense that it would be like Lord of the Rings isn't really a Christmas movie, but something you watch around this time that kind of gets you in the mood for Christmas. I mean, it could be anything. It could
I
be
think
opera
for
music,
me,
dancing, and ex machina.
nah, the movie for me that really says to me that Christmas has started is like watching Scrooged.
Ooh,
That one's
okay.
that one's always like on the 80s movies page I have. Granted, I don't know if I've done it every year since I started doing it, but usually it's his little speech at the end of it when he's saying about, you got an extra blanket, you got a sandwich, here. That's the Christmas message I always kind of leave for everyone on Christmas Eve. But yeah, I feel like Christmas doesn't start until I watch that movie.
Ooh, okay.
You've seen Scrooge, so haven't you?
Yeah, 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 yeah. No,
Because
no,
I was
no.
like, a second, I was like, you better have watched it.
Whoa, I have to. Please, please, please. We're civil today. No, no, no.
There's
I've
there's
definitely seen.
there's land and water between us. No, you're right.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I definitely have seen that one, and it was just because it's I guess again that's the kind of like humor you like. Because yeah, unfortunately I just haven't seen it for a while because it's like unfortunately I have this really bad problem where I buy loads of movies and then I don't rewatch the ones I've got.
Yeah.
I think we can relate to that. But no, I've just because I was looking at my stack and I was like, I haven't added that to it, so I'm going to add that to my Christmas rewatch list. But yeah, it was because it was a strange one when I watched it. It was so bizarre because it's so darkly comedic, but it's brilliant. Like you can
Yeah.
see, like Bill Murray is either having the best time or the worst time of his life making that film, but it's either way, we're getting the gold out of that, you know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Maybe for me it's just the 80s. I feel like that's where like our kind of like peak comedy was because they actually realized or knew when to let like a joke end and not to just
Yeah.
run it into the ground because like, oh, we got one laugh, let's just keep running it and running it until it dies.
Oh, just bear with me.
Yeah. I haven't had a chance to watch Violent Night yet, Dan, but definitely will watch it because I've been wanting to see it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, just got
That's
given
all right. I was
sweets.
just
So,
letting someone know that because he mentioned Violent Night that I will eventually see it.
ooh. Dead Poet Society is a good one to full movie cozy and Green Knight. Definitely agree. I don't know what mine would be. I think mine's Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium. Yeah,
It's like the whimsy. Is it because it's set around like December time where you are? Because obviously for us it's hot and yuck for
yeah.
Christmas with us.
I watched it randomly. I think it must have been near Christmas because I just remember all the hate that movie got. So I was like, okay, and it was on TV one day, and I thought, all right, let's just keep it on, and I was sucked into it. And I think it's the magic. The that kind of film is just magical, and it just gets me into that kind of spirit. But then I also like films like I've said, like Secret Santa and Better Watch Out
Yeah.
that have a real kind of mean streak, and it's that balance of that's when I feel like Christmas for me is really kind of kicking in when you can, like you said, well, even I mean, Scrooge is a complete package because it's got like heart and warmth of like the Christmas Carol story, but then it's got that darkly comedic edge. But yeah, with the like you say about the 80s and the comedy, yeah. I mean, just look at the Monty Python movies. Like, you know, you've got the Monty Python movies, you've got Blues Brothers, Animal House, Fast Times, you know. But yeah, it was just a completely different era where, you know, I miss the raunchy comedy, and I'm glad it's coming back. Like, I'm glad there are filmmakers now who aren't using a lot of the problematic elements that we grew up with, and they're actually saying you can still keep that subgenre, but you can just do it differently. And it's like, yes, yes, you know, it's like, yes, it's like I'm waiting for the day for the erotic thriller to come back. Like, I'm waiting for that because I miss those movies. Like, you know, you got obviously your Basic Instincts and all that, and it was just like they're great. They're so much fun. I mean, I guess it's just a pervert in me, I guess, but uh, it is. I know, but that's where I do feel like I'm from. Like we've been talking like from a different generation, but you do feel like, you know, especially when like a lot of the stuff I like and want to talk about, like people look at me and just go, why? And I'm like, yeah, but I like the detective stories. I like, you know, because a lot of them are detective stories, so
Yeah.
you've got a real nice element there, and then you've got obviously those kind of other elements as well. And it's like, yeah, I miss those because that's, again, through the 90s, that was like a main staple. I mean, even stuff like Species had,
Oh yeah.
yeah, that was an entire franchise, was sci-fi kind of more that. But yeah, you just go, oh, and then I've been watching stuff on Netflix that they've been doing, and you just go, oh, please, Netflix, just stop, please stop, just don't. I'll tell you what though, if you ever get to see Fair Play, Fair Play is an interesting one that I watched recently. It's not, it's kind of saucy as you'd expect, but where the film, because that's what they kind of, the trailer cut it as like an erotic thriller, but it's definitely a lot more complex than that, and that really was a nice surprise.
I feel like now when they try to do them, they just, I don't know. It's just maybe just the time now. It's like it took a while for like slashers to actually come back properly,
Yeah.
because you had Basic Instinct, and of course everyone loves that one. But when they did the second one, my god, it was awful.
Yeah.
And it was like,
Yeah.
okay, let's just try and up the sex scenes, and you're like, yeah, well, they've got to actually be like hot to watch. You know what I mean? And you're kind of
Yeah.
like, just chucked it in there because you could, and just there was just no good story to it either.
No,
It's actually something my friend Nathan Hill tries to do because he actually quite enjoys the erotic thrillers and stuff like that. So that's what he's attempting to do when it comes to his movies that he does.
oh, brilliant. Oh,
Yeah,
brilliant. I mean, this is the thing also, is that it comes back to a big problem in that subgenre, which is obviously very much one-sided kind of nudity in that one. You know, it's very much, because I've been talking about it with someone at my work, and we've been commenting about, you know, like body types as well of the kind of actors in the movie. It's not realistic, and then you've also got the fact that the guys don't really get naked in them, and it's like, yeah, it's a strange subgenre, but that's where, again, someone passionate who wants to tell stories do it differently, you know. And I think, you know, I think that's the one thing that desperately needs to change in Hollywood is equal opportunity nudity. That's
isn't
my
that
big rally cry, you know.
isn't that something they had a big thing about with that Bruce Willis movie Color of Night, because there was male nudity in it and people thought it was too much or something like that?
Oh, probably. I didn't hear any of that. I didn't hear any of that, and thank goodness I didn't, because otherwise I would probably explode, because I think it's just, well, no, you know, it was like, like I've made no qualm saying I like the 50 Shades movies, but even I get to a point where you go, that is absolutely like unfair on Dakota, like what she went through in that movie, well, in those movies, like, you know, the kind of leering camera, and then you're like, you know, Jamie Dornan just wearing like no top, but he's wearing jeans. I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, like that's disgusting. Like, and again, you can I'm hoping we start getting more like filmmakers, because it was like, yeah, like Bottoms was like a great raunchy comedy. It's like, I'm hoping people like that start reinvigorating these franchises, like, or subgenres, sorry, like you said, with slashers, bringing it back. Like let's get these people who grew up on these with a different perspective and different lens to then, you know, have, you know, it was like, I think, I don't know if you've seen it by now, the Totally Killer.
No, I haven't watched it yet.
No, but you take the slasher movie, which obviously was massive in the 80s, and you take a character now and you put them back then when the kind of heyday of slash. It's very, I love that meta-ness to it, but
Yeah.
it was like, it was a great social commentary on today, but also that's obviously your subtext, but the main story was still fascinating. So it was like, it was a really good kind of package. I think you can do that, you know, and it's like, I've even enjoyed where Scream has gone with the last two kind of movies as well. Kind
I
of with the
wasn't the biggest. No, go on. Sorry, I cut you off.
oh, no, I just said with the commentary. That was it. I'm done.
I wasn't the biggest fan of the fifth one, just because I thought you could have just left it at four.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
number six, I actually really did enjoy for actually making it fresh again.
Yeah.
Don't know how I feel about Sydney not being in it, but then again, now with everything that's happening there, Nev Campbell's probably like, "You gonna pay me what I'm actually worth? You want to bring me back now?"
Yeah, yeah.
Especially if they
Yeah,
get
because
Patrick Dempsey to come back.
and that's the thing. It's like, I think, like, as I said to you, I've always been on the kind of middle ground with Scream, but I think personally I'm done. Like, if you're not gonna have, because Saw 7, Oh dear, I apologise. Yeah, with Scream 7, you were building to the battle of the final girls. You know,
Yeah,
Sydney one side, and obviously Samantha Carpenter on the other,
Sydney,
and it.
Cindy,
Oh,
scary movie.
oh, Sydney. Oh, right. Oh no. Oh, for God's sake. This is what I mean. Yeah. Yeah.
They
This
got
is what I
both
mean.
mentioned today. It's all good.
Yeah. And you know, we're like basically, yeah, never that, and it's you just kind of get to that point with like that was going to be the showdown. And I think that's where your meta commentary would have come from.
Mm.
Is and you could have had a lot of like true crime stuff in it, and now you're removing one of them. I don't know if Nev's going to come back, if I'm completely honest, because of obviously all that. Because now you've lost Jenna as well, so you've lost
Yeah.
basically most of your new cast. And Nev had to fight to get a half decent paycheck
Mm.
for coming back for Scream 7. So now is it like, what are they going to
He's the
do?
only one left, too. Like Patrick Dempsey, his character came in at number 3.
Yeah.
She's the only one left of him now. So it'd be really interesting to see what they do, but I hope they just don't butcher it because they're like, well, we've got the money to make it. Let's just make something because we can.
Yeah.
Because I think she
Yeah.
deserves a lot better than that.
Yeah. Because I think the person that's now doing it did like, what was it? I think it was either he did the Happy Death Day movies or did the Fantasy Island and Truth or Dare. Because there's two people that work for Blumhouse. One I love and one I don't, and I think it's the one I don't that's doing Scream 7. So I'm kind of like, I was already like, because as soon as you get rid of Radio Silence, I mean, I didn't understand why they weren't coming back. Like, you know, but they've got like some secret Universal monster movie they're working on. I'm like,
Maybe this could be the time they actually do bring Stu back finally. Because Matthew Lillard did say that they did try to bring him back for number 3, but then they had to change the story completely after Columbine happened. But if they
okay,
did that, I'm actually quite because I don't think I've actually heard them mention what the story would have been about. But if
no,
they've changed it because of what happened at Columbine, then it must have something to do with the high school.
yeah, could
And it's really
be,
sad to think that probably half the people who are in here, even those are like 2, I can actually for my one, they'd know, but that a lot of people don't know what Columbine is anymore.
no, no. Definitely check out the kind of I know a lot. I know he's controversial, but the Michael Moore documentary is a great place to start.
Columbine.
Yeah, yeah.
I rewatched it the other day because I had to explain to a girl at work what happened and what those boys did. And she's like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Okay, watch it, but you have to be in the right mindset because you're going to get
Yeah,
upset."
yeah. And yeah, it was like and it's because that was kind of we had that that was shown in a sociology class, and I was just like, whoa, that's that kind of, and it's always funny how everything kind of bad always gets blamed on like the media. It's like this musician made me do it, this video game made me go do it, and things like that. I've never seen that as a viable thing because it's like I've seen some sick and twisted like movies and things like that, and I've never had the urge to go recreate that, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
And
They've tried doing it on SVU, saying that like a video game made someone do something like that when it's not true.
yeah, yeah.
Because then they want to ban that video game Bully from I think was it on PlayStation 2 or something like that. Because
Probably, yeah, because
yeah,
I know that one got into it because Rockstar basically had a rough couple of years because there was I've got to be
Manhunt.
careful what I say here. There was a GTA incident. That's all I can really kind of comment on that one at the moment. And then there was Manhunt that
Yeah,
got banned because of that, and then I think Bully got a lot of flack as well. So they had like a rough couple of years where they had like 3 different games, and people were all blaming them for it. And it's like, if kids are playing them as well, because like in the UK, we have very strict laws. Like if you're, so say if I was to play an 18 rated game underage, not only do my parents like can go to prison, I think, yeah, and then the retailer who sold it to them gets fined and can go to the person selling it can go to prison. So yeah, like the video nasties like had a massive impact on Britain because it became law, actual written law about yeah, media wanted to blame Marilyn Manson. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
all that stuff. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it became this whole intricate thing where it's like, even to have a DVD, like you've got to have all the say like a movie over in the UK. Not only is the movie rated, the trailer has to be rated, the extras have to be rated, and if it isn't got a rating on it, it's obviously breaking law. It's
yeah.
crazy.
Is it makes me think that during the whole video nasties thing, especially like the early '90s, one of the boys who harmed James Bulger, apparently a
Yeah,
copy of Child's Play 3 was in the house, and they said that
yeah,
that must have inspired them to put him near the train tracks. He like it was in the house, like kind of get over it kind of thing. And then I remember there was on the video nasty documentary I watched, they were talking to a filmmaker about like how do you feel about kids watching it? And he's like, it's not made for kids, so it doesn't. If they watch it, they just watch it. I've never made it for a kid to watch. And when it comes to video games and people buying them, especially like now, considering games are upward of like $100 and whatnot, if you're giving your kid $100 for a game, don't you want to know what your kid's spending that money on? Oh, I'm getting
yeah,
this game. Oh, it's rated M. Yeah, maybe you're not getting that.
yeah.
Because I actually find a lot of retailers here, they really don't care about selling the game if it's got a certain rating. I've only ever had one person. I was buying, I think it was House of Wax on DVD. It was an MA rating, so it was 15 plus. And he goes, "Are you older than 14? Can you watch this?" I'm like, "I'm 21." I'm like, "Thanks for that, but I've literally never been asked if I was
Yeah,
actually
yeah,
the right age to watch it."
yeah,
So when it comes to that, that's actually like the retailer and the parents thing as well. Obviously now it's a lot easier to sneak those in because kids can get gift vouchers, they can download stuff digitally now. But back
yeah,
then, you're like, well, if you've got your son Saints Row, when there's some pretty heavy subject matter in it,
yeah.
maybe you should know what you've bought your 14-year-old son. That happened at work. I actually told a lady about what was in the game, and she didn't buy it for her son, and her son, who was working for us, refused to speak to me for the rest of his employment because he didn't get
Wow.
the game because of that.
Yeah,
I'm like, because you would have complained about what was in the game, and I'm like, maybe you should be educated that maybe it's not made for him. When parents want to complain, oh, this game's not, no, my kids can't play it, it's not suitable because it's not made for them.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe you think about that as well.
Yeah, I mean, like talking of funny kind of incidences with age ratings, oh god, I must have been like 18, 19 at the time, and I bought Beetlejuice on DVD, and I got ID. Had to have ID for that, which was hilarious. And then it was another. I was at Sainsbury's, and I was buying Mortal Engines on Blu-ray, and it's 12, and I just had this employee just like stare at me. And mind you, at this point, I think I had like a beard or a mustache, and I was just like, "Dude, man, I'm not 12. I'm not 12. I easily look like, yeah." In my head, I'm thinking, "Oh, dude, why are you doing this?" I like to call them over enthusiastic employees of the month. It's that you just go, really,
But
really.
you've had that. I remember
Oh, here
me
we
and a
go.
friend were going to go see Scream 4, and it was rated MA 15. So you have to be 15 to go watch it. People in front of us, they got carded. People in front of them, they got carded. Come to me and my friend, they go, "You go through." I was like, "Excuse me?" And the people behind us, they got carded. I was like, "Excuse me?" I get offended. Granted, look, yeah, I'm in my 30s. I get offended if I don't get carded when I'm buying alcohol. Seriously, I was like, "Excuse me."
Yeah.
But when I was working at an Aldi, if I saw a woman was having a bit of a bad day, I'd ask her for her ID. And she's like, "Oh, really?" And I was like, make your day a bit better."
Yeah. Oh no, that's brilliant. Yeah,
What are your ratings like over there? Because here we have, I think we got a
ooh,
pretty good breakdown of ratings. Because I know in America it goes from pretty much like PG 13 to like R 17. So there's really nothing in the middle. So we have like G, PG. So recommended parental guidance. M, which tends to be pretty much what all like the Hollywood blockbusters will have their PG-13. Then there's 15, MA 15 plus, and then there's R. And when I was a kid, when I saw an R rating, I was like, this must be bad to have an R rating. Like, you know, you see that, you're like, is this going to be like, is it close to like an X rating? Like, is this going to be really, really bad kind of thing? But yeah, what's your rating system like?
Yeah, so ours actually changed. It changed early 2000s because we had Spider-Man and I think it was Lord of the Rings Two Towers. So we were Universal. So that's like Bluey kids TV shows. There is a rating that is called E, which is exempt, and that's usually say for like documentaries with no kind of like it can be an intense documentary, but it's usually safe for like documentaries. Then we got PG, parental guidance. So if I'm not mistaken, PG is recommended. Children under the age of 8 aren't allowed to watch, or that's the kind of, you need to make sure like children under the age of 8. Mask is like a PG, so it's that kind of movie. Then we had 12, but it got changed to 12A, and so when you buy a DVD or Blu-ray, it's 12. But at the cinema, it's 12A. So anyone under the age of 12 can go, but the parent or guardian that takes them needs to be aware it is of like a bit more mature. With that, we are allowed swearing in a 12A. I think it's usually one fuck. I think that's about right. Usually that's the kind of limit. Then you get to 15. That's where like Shaun of the Dead, all the kind of Cornetto trilogy kind of sit, usually like a comedy. That has now changed where you can have endless F words, and we're allowed one C word. That might have changed.
It's so British that you're allowed to put a C word in there too.
They literally. I remember Simon Pegg saying when they were doing Shaun of the Dead, they had it in there, the C word, but they were like, well, obviously, I don't know what TikTok guideline. Yeah, I don't want to upset, and that. But yeah, it was what was it? The kind of they had to break it down, and they were allowed one. Now, I have seen films recently where you've had more than one, but I think so. It's either 1 to 3. You're allowed that. 18 is basically a free-for-all. If you're 18 now, usually it's horror movies with violence, but very rarely do I see a film with swearing get an 18. It's usually the violence. And then we get R18, but that's saved for teenage boys with nothing to do.
Yeah,
it's those kind of movies. Like, but they're only allowed to be sold at very specialist shops. So
because they've changed the way our ratings look. Like it used to be.
Oh, yours have changed as well. So have ours.
Because like they get really detailed with like their reasonings. Like say if like this is Heartbreakers. It's just an M.
Yeah.
If you can see it, it just looks pretty harmless.
Yeah.
Then they changed it to being colourful.
Yeah.
But now they seem to go really in detail or just be a bit more specific with their stuff. Where this one actually will say like the comic violence in it. Where it used to be like years ago, it would be a case of like this may contain this. You're like either it does or it doesn't. Be actually more specific with it, but now it actually does say it. And my mate Brody is in the chat. You're just saying hello.
No, that's okay. I don't know if anyone can see that.
No. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all right. I had my light quite bright. Bear with me. So yeah, you've got that's what it used to look like. So that got changed around 2002. That changed to that around 2002, and then that's what it looks like now. And there was a whole kerfuffle about how it all changed.
Why do you have two ratings on the one thing though? Is that one for like a different like country or something like that, or
Yeah, so basically what studios will do now is they, like Universal are great, because what they'll do is when you get to the startup menu, they'll have about 7 or 8 different countries on there, like for languages. They just burn the disc for those kind of countries. But the red one is the BBFC, which is UK, and then the blue one's for Ireland. Oh, look
ah
at that. So that's Ireland. So what we tend to do is we tend to share a lot of morning, Steve, and yeah, we tend to share a lot of those. Yeah. So the blue one, it will actually tell you in there. It says Irish film classification. If you look on the disc on the blue one,
oh it does too.
yeah. So
Ah
that's for Ireland.
now I know.
There you go. Yeah, and yeah, so a lot of that all kind of changed. So every like 10, 20 years, the BBFC do like a really kind of overhaul of the look of the logos. And every time there is kickoff, because I got to be honest with you, I loved like these ones because it actually says BBFC in the background.
Yeah.
One, and then you get like these ones. I mean, to be fair, they've grown on me. So you get like that for 15. That for
I
PG.
did like these
That one.
ones, if you can see, like a little bit better, just because it didn't take up so much of the poster. Where
Yeah.
these ones kind of like smack you in the face, and you're like, boom. I know I'm showing non-horror movies, but it kind of like
No,
smacks
no.
you in the face and takes up quite a lot of space.
Yeah.
The difference, yeah,
Yeah. But I've got to be careful when I show, because I was about to show you like the bottom of the Alfred Hitchcock set. But what
yeah,
they do is, again, they have to. We've always primarily had an explanation of why that film is a rated for that. I can't show you this one because it is very, very naughty, but on the back of the screen, oh for God's sake, I've got everything on my mind today, I'll tell you. There you go. I don't know if you can see it, but it just says like
yeah,
strong violence. Yeah. So they do break it down, and again, that's pretty much by law over here.
yeah. Yeah, they because it used to be so vague, our ones, which now they do really do it. Maybe they've taken a leaf from the
Yeah.
BBFC or something like that. Oh, also, you mentioning that you got the copy of Cannibal Holocaust. It was the American one you said you got?
Oh, yeah. Just sorry, bear with me.
That's
So
right.
yeah, Sam's in. Right, Sam. He
I,
says it's rare. Sorry, yeah. He says it's rare, but sometimes you will see a different rating for Ireland than the UK, which is true. Sometimes I think we've had it 12. They've rated it 15.
yeah,
But again,
this one had a 15 on it.
there you go. Yeah. So it's because of there is content deemed by Ireland and their classification system. And then Dave has just mentioned, I do apologize, I just want to quickly mention this.
No,
He
you're right.
said the BBFC have a podcast. One episode, they discussed the Marvel ratings, and it's worth a listen. So again, that comes into the BBFC is a public organization where we have to, they have to disclose by law why they rate things if it's been cut, and they do go into it is all free, like on a website, like it's kind of thingy. But yeah, sorry, I did interrupt.
That's right. You saying that you got that copy of Cannibal Holocaust? It was an American release. That copy that you managed to
Yes.
get
Yeah,
with the
bear with me.
UK release, because I have seen it on occasion on Amazon. Is that a cut one because of the BBFC? Because I remember they heavily
Yeah.
cut that years ago. They wouldn't release it in its entirety. Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand
Yeah,
why you
so
can't show it. Yes.
yeah. So oh god, I've got to be careful here. Oh, you're asking some really good questions today. Right, here we go.
I'm just curious because I've seen like copies that like the UK have for that movie, but I'm like, but I think you've cut it because I know that like the burning, like the American version and the UK version, there are slight cuts to them.
Yeah. So I've got the American Grindhouse releasing version. I can only show you this kind of part of
Yeah,
it.
I know.
Yeah. So yes. So basically, when it was when I kind of started getting into like ratings and BBFC and things like that, what I noticed, and a lot of people have said, like, America really tends to cut kind of, I think it's like they were cutting sex. I think that was their big thing. They didn't mind like action and violence, but like sex, no, no. With us, it's the kind of opposite where we're very, 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 very careful about kind of set. No, no, not sex. It's violence. Sorry, violence. And where, um, especially, let's just say, like movies like Last House on the Left,
Yeah.
films like that, they are a big no-no. Still, we are getting some through now uncut, but they are still if you've got it in your movie, you are going to a lot of filmmakers can actually like send the BBFC pre-cuts, like an assembly edit, and say, what do you guys think of this? Or they'll start discussions very early if that's a thing, just because they know it's going to be a big kind of no, especially in the UK. So Cannibal Holocaust and Cannibal Ferox do have UK releases, but they are butchered, and I do mean they are butchered. So Cannibal Holocaust not too bad, because when they did the Grindhouse release version, they did a cruelty-free cut. So that is a version that takes out anything to do with animals. That's all I will say on that. If you know Cannibal Holocaust, then you know about that.
I haven't seen this, but I have a rough idea.
Yeah, and let's just say I've seen both versions, and yeah, it's intense with animals. If you're an animal lover, never watch it. So a lot of those sequences. So what they did is when they did this one, Ruggero Deodato, he went through the movie and actually supervised that version, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong, but I feel like that was, I think he at least maybe even like Sam Raimi's editor Bob Muriowski, who owns Grindhouse, actually like did it and then sent it off to get his approval or something. There was, Ruggero Deodato has approved that cut of the cruelty free. So it just then comes down to more the kind of fake violence within the movie. As far as I know, the cruelty free version got through okay. Cannibal Ferox is the one that really, as far as I know, there isn't a kind of cruelty free version. So that movie is like really cut to pieces. I think that got like 5, maybe 6, 7 minutes, maybe longer out of it. And yeah, it just, when you watch it, it's very, very much like, so they'll have this moment, like a shot, and then it slows down like oddly, where they're trying to then recut around things. And you just feel like, well, what's the point in releasing it if it's not going to get through uncut? Which it, again, Cannibal Holocaust uncut, like fully uncut, will never get a BBFC rating. And then, like same with Ferox, it'll never get through. As far as I know, like there's the August Underground films. They were reviewed by the BBFC board and flat out disapproved. They will never be released in the UK ever. Yeah, that was the first one, as far as I know. Again, I could be wrong. I mean, times have changed. I never thought films like well, not Irreversible, but more like House on the Edge of the Park would ever get like a fully uncut rating, and they are now. They're coming through fully uncut. So it's thingy. But like your rating system, like, have you had any problems with things like that and films or that you're aware of? Or
Not that I can really think of, to be honest, because it's a pretty, I don't know, like the rating system we have. There's so many levels to it. So pretty much, if it's really really bad, that is straight away give it to an R rating.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for us, because of the 80s and obviously what happened with the video nasties, like, and once I kind of figured stuff like that out, I started like investigating all that kind of stuff, and it is really kind of like it's weird because even like right up until 2009, 2010, like they were really strict, and then out of nowhere we started getting like little things kind of trickle through. Like for the longest time, Texas Chainsaw Massacre was not allowed uncut in the UK. Think on that. Like 1979, I think it is 1978, 1979. It didn't get passed through uncut till early 2000s in the UK. Same with Evil Dead, the first Evil Dead, because there was a run of Channel 4 in the UK, so they do like comedies like It Crowd and things like that. Big Brother in the UK, that was their kind of big kind of claim to fame, and they did a season where they had like all these movies uncut. So I just recorded them on a night time
Yeah.
on VHS. But yeah, sorry.
What was I going to say? I was going to say about, like, you were mentioning Evil Dead. What did you mention before Evil Dead?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original.
Yeah. I'm like, how is it after all this time it's not released in its entirety, considering there is barely any like red stuff in this film?
Yeah. Unfortunately, it ended up on the list of video nasties. Basically, what was happening is, yeah. Oh, don't. I'll
Both
have
of
to
them.
grab mine in a minute.
Both of them.
So yeah, basically, to anyone who doesn't know, um, but they put them on TV. Yeah. Jen, I will get to that in just a sec because I can kind of lead into that with this, which is basically when the video nasties kind of exploded, any and everything was just being nabbed and grabbed. So Driller Killer were the big ones, like Evil Dead, the first Evil Dead, anything like cannibals, anything with like provocative titles like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The thing is they wouldn't even watch them. They just nabbed them for the title and the artwork. And basically, once you got put on that list, so I think there was 3 lists, weren't there? There was, if I'm not mistaken,
There was
because
the band. There was like ones to
79,
keep an
79
eye on,
band, yeah.
and then there was ones like I don't know. It
Yeah.
was it 2 or 3? Because apparently like the list never stayed consistent either.
Yeah. Oh no, it never did. Sorry for the unflattering angle. There we go. Because yeah, I've got my both ones.
If I have to get the set out too, there you go. Hold on.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, because I remember there was the original 79, and then there was an extra list.
For people who don't have these or haven't watched these, I highly recommend that you do.
Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, so it was Nucleus Films, the official 82. Section 3. So there was 3 sections. There we go. So there was 3 section kind of lists. So it ended up being like close to about 200 movies. And if you were on any of those lists, basically there was it would depend. And I think Texas ended up on the second section, which was it was iffy, but it was never banned. Like that was always safe for like Evil Dead, and where they'd actually kind of seen some of the movies. But yeah, and otherwise I'll be here all day. Otherwise, to try to think about it. But yeah, and the beautiful thing about that whole no, not the beautiful thing. The thing about that is if you ended up on that list, basically you were blacklisted. I remember Last House on the Left didn't get a proper release, and it luckily it managed to get through uncut round about 2005 2006 before like Arrow took it on, but it was a DVD. And again, like these films, because of the content, took forever to get through it. I mean, most of them took 20 years to get through, and basically once and every so often companies would try to try them through the BBFC, And mind you, just to even try, so you've got to pay to get your movie put through to the BBFC to even see if it will get classified.
Yeah.
So that's like, 100 quid, say, a time, roughly, um, to even see if you're going to get a release for your movie. And they would then try and Texas finally got through, Evil Dead finally got through, because we had 3 scenes cut from that, or for home video release during the 80s and 90s. And then Channel 4 basically took the uncut movies. There was about 4 of them. So I remember Texas and Evil Dead very well. And they went, we're actually putting them on British TV, fully uncut for the first time. Boom, here you go. And it was great. Like, I could video them and finally see them. And then we started getting releases. So we would then start getting like physical media releases, but really good ones. Like, I remember Last House and Texas being 3-discers. Like, they had other documentaries and commentaries and everything. And then it kind of then, there's been like no problems, but then films that were a lot more problematic started coming through, and they were getting passed uncut. And and now it's like to the point where pretty much most of the original banned list is now available in the UK in like Blu-ray, or if I'm not mistaken, Blu-ray or 4K. Like that's how intense it is. Yeah, like that's it. Like, your face says it all. And you've seen the doc. Yeah, you've seen the docs, but then it makes you go, well, what was the point of the video nasties?
Exactly.
You've just delayed it a couple of years, the releases. Yeah. But I mean, there is stuff on those lists, like the World War II baddie exploitation.
Oh yeah.
Movies. Yeah. I can't really go into too much on that one, but yeah, the World War II, yeah, they struggle again. No doubt why they struggle, but
yeah,
there is things. Sorry. Yeah, Jen's just asked. Curious what you think of Censor. While we're on the topic, have you seen Censor?
I have not.
So I have, and I found it an interesting one, but it didn't quite focus enough on the kind of ratings thing for me, because it's basically about a censor who kind of watches a lot of the kind of material we've been talking about, and then kind of descends into kind of like madness, if you will.
Yeah.
And it was good. I didn't kind of love it. It was a strange one, but because I love that subject matter, so I was hoping. But weirdly enough, Kim Newman, I don't know if you know Kim Newman.
I do, yeah.
Yeah. He actually executive produced it. He actually got it made. Yeah, I know.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah. Dan here asked, did Wolf Creek make it to the UK?
It did, yes, yeah. We've got that on DVD. I can get it for you, but I mean,
did you watch the series? Did that make it over there as well?
Yeah. We did. Again, a lot of that kind of stuff, like the torture corn stuff, did make it over, and weirdly, it made it uncut. There wasn't a lot. The big ones I always remember were Human Centipede 2. Was cut by 3 minutes, and I bought the American DVD so I could see all 3 minutes. And the other big one was Serbian Film, which to this day, in the last like 30 years, if I'm not mistaken, has been the most heavily cut movie in the UK. Nearly 5-6 minutes. It was well over 5 minutes cut out of that movie.
Wow. I still haven't seen it, nor do I ever think I will ever see it.
Let's just put it this way. I was disgusted at the heavily cut version, and I will not ever, because I know there's an American company, and I appreciate the work they do, called Unearthed Films. And I mean, they released the extreme stuff. So they've just done the August Underground trilogy, and they released Serbian Film uncut. which it can be in America, which is why I'm kind of jealous of the Americans. I love the idea that they get home physical media like fully uncut. There's nothing rated about it, but
Yeah.
then they got the director to do an extended cut. So again, I was like, no. But I've got a question for you because
Yeah.
bringing on to this is great. I don't know if you notice it much on your feed, but I've noticed like the really extreme kind of horror, like Serbian film, like I Spit on Your Grave and Last House on the Left, are really enjoyed by women. And I don't, I'm, yeah, the kind of really extreme horror scene is like, it seems to, and if anybody in the comments can answer, like, I, I, I've never understood it. Like, I
I can
don't know if
kind
you.
of understand something like I Spit on Your Grave because it's like a revenge film,
Hmm.
but unless women are seeing it as some like weird fantasy because it's a lot of violence against women, I don't
Mhm.
understand why the majority would be enjoying it more. It's really strange.
Yeah, because I don't ever see guys post it, and when I do see like when I see other people when I do see people post it, it's primarily female content creators, and then not only are they just showing the case, they are recreating scenes from the movie, like like artistic kind of things, and I'm just like, I wow, okay, and I don't know whether or not it's that kind of extreme horror, because I watch stuff like that and I wince. I'm gone. I'm gone.
No, I have no idea. I didn't
No,
even
no,
realize
no,
that
no.
was a
That's cool. Again, I just thought I'd ask because I find it like the strangest thing. Yeah. Oh,
You got a question?
sorry. Yeah, 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 yeah. Augustus Abraham. Sorry. As I say, it's taking us a while. We've just been chatting. Which one of you guys are fans of the Buffyverse franchise, Buffy and its spin-off Angel?
Okay, everyone would not shut up about Buffy at school. I did watch it for a first season or two because they played it at a decent time when I was at in high school or primary school. But then people
Yeah.
wouldn't shut up about it, so I actually stopped watching it. And I kind of feel like I don't know if I want to start watching it again. I did enjoy what I saw, but
Hmm.
I'm very much someone, if you don't shut up about it, I will not watch it just to spite you.
Hmm.
Hence the reason why I've not finished End of Lord of the Rings. Not Lord of the Rings, End of Game of Thrones. Because people would not shut up about it. Seriously, it's just, come on.
Yeah. No, I just love that's the approach. Like, but no, like that's fair because I find that a lot sometimes. I got to season 4 of Game of Thrones, and I think the hype train on it was just destroying my love for that show. Like, I watched the first episode, and I was just like gone. I was like out. But I liked Buffy when I was younger, and I have tried to go back and rewatch it, and I couldn't. Angel was the better show for me. Like I could watch it, but saying that, I can't watch seasons 2, 3, and 4. I do struggle with that. I love Angel season 1 and Angel season 5 is like the greatest season of Angel. Like it's got the best it's got the best kind of storylines, like where Angel turns into a Muppet. Him and Spike are on a U-boat in World War II. Like they just went absolutely crazy for that final season, and it was glorious.
One thing I wanted to ask, because I watched a movie like this the other day, and I'm curious to see what you've experienced. Have you come across a movie that's been listed as a horror movie that wasn't conventionally a horror movie, was more a horror movie of humanity or the human condition? Because I watched Rent-A-Pow the other day, and as much as
Okay.
it's listed as a horror and a thriller, it's more of the horrors of being lonely.
Okay.
Like how the amusement park is the horrors of growing old. Have you come
Yeah.
across a movie where it's more of the horrors of the human condition?
I mean that kind of leads into my thoughts on like A24. Like I don't think that. I mean, this is the thing. Like I think the term horror gets bandied about very, 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 very flippantly now. Like if, like if it's dealing with the darkness of humanity, it's a horror movie. It's like horror movies have tone and feeling and things like that, and I think a lot of like the A24 stuff doesn't, because they're just great dramas. Like realistically, like I'm always disappointed because they're billed as horror movies and they're not. But
Yeah.
with the human condition thing, I would have to check my letterbox. I would probably might have to get back to you on that. But I think I mean there was a film I saw that wasn't a horror movie that I potentially could label as one, and it was called Scenes of a Marriage from Ingmar Bergman. I know I'm getting pretentious now, but it was just the breakdown of a marriage, and it was just so raw and realistic. And then they keep getting back together again, and then breaking up, and then getting back together again, and it just felt like a horror movie in the sense of you need this person but you can't be with this person. It's things like that. Yeah, I mean, where it's usually labeled like a horror movie, and I wouldn't, I think I've said before, like The Witch, I think it's a great period. Robert Eggers is a great filmmaker at chronicling historical kind of like a historical period in time. But as a horror movie, no, that's why I'm excited for the Nosferatu, because I'm really excited it will do a very gothic period horror movie, like with vampires. Like this is feels like the first horror movie
Yeah.
that like at least like proper horror movie. I
Yeah.
hope that answers the question. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just that there are in times where, because obviously when the amusement park finally got released on Shutter, it was listed as horror, but it doesn't provoke the kind of like reaction you'd get from your regular horror movie. It was more
Yeah.
it was more of that. Same thing with Rent-A-Pow. It was the horrors of loneliness and then the horrors of growing old. So yeah, I was interested to see if anyone else has come across that, because it was such an intriguing movie, and it actually like it lingers with you for a while after you've watched it. Have you seen Rent-A-Pow?
No, I haven't, but I have been wanting to watch it, and I think that's interesting as well. Where I think movies now have become so complex that you can't pigeonhole them anymore.
Yeah.
You think on like, I mean, I haven't seen it, but like Beau is Afraid. You look at that. That's like a fantasy. It's a horror movie. It's a comedy. It's a drama. It's everything. And
Yeah.
like, but what? How do you sell it? And realistically, you have to sell it on the stars and the director, because that's all you've got.
Mm.
I mean, I do feel at times really sad for marketing people, because again, like movies are so tonally all over the place. Like, how do you market them? But then also, I don't, because usually they don't market them very well. It is. It's that double-sided coin, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, I I don't know. I would love to see. I think I've seen Amusement Park. I think is it on the cover? It's that kind of weird, like Jack in the Box clown.
No, it's an elderly gentleman, and basically I think they've turned his face into look like a merry-go-round.
Yeah, it's the Lost George Romero movie. Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
yes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no. As soon as you went with the thingy, yeah, I didn't mean to pull that face. Please cut that. Please cut that
So, considering we've been going on for nearly 2.5 hours again, which I was actually
again.
quite surprised because the Christmas
Yeah,
talk finished in probably about 15 minutes. I'm happy
yeah,
to
yeah,
throw this open to more questions from people. I know we've had some questions in here, but if
yeah,
people
yeah.
want to ask some more, apparently, according to someone, I look like Jennifer Tilly. Thank you. Um,
Yeah.
There's
I
some
don't.
weird people leaving weird emojis, which I don't think that's a
Oh
real
yeah, yeah,
profile.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
brilliant.
of course, my
Yeah.
sister had
No,
to leave a little comment, didn't she?
I bet
I
you
knew she
can't read
would.
it
I
out
knew
loud,
she'd
can
get
you?
in here and she'd be like, you have to say something.
Yeah. Jen says she's seen it, and she says, "Yeah, oh, I've seen that Romero movie too. Loved it. I need to see that. But
Yep.
I haven't, but I've been trying to think. But Jen also said Jennifer Tilly is beautiful, and so is she, like yourself. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, seriously, Rent-A-Power was really good. I'm actually because we've just got Umbrella Entertainment just released their own streaming service here called Broly, and
yeah.
it's
I did
actually
see
free. And I'm like,
Doe.
how do you justify it? Because like anyone I've said to them, watch Houseboat Horror, and they're like, oh no, I got to pay for it. No, you don't. Now they can watch it for free. I recommended it to my mate Danny Boy from the Creepy Crap podcast, and he's watched it. So I'm bringing it up when we have a chat.
No, no, no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. This is done. I can't believe you've got a free streaming service. It's disgusting. I love Umbrella. How? No, no. We're not talking anymore. We're done. Interview is done.
No, because I remember I was asked to be part of like the beta like thing for it. Obviously, just people who'd like shop with them before on the website. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think I tried to watch things and I couldn't like Chromecast it because that's what I usually do with my projector. And then I'm like, how do you justify having this for free? Like, there's like
yeah,
one ad before movies. Like, I got to watch Lake Mungo, and I'd been trying to look for it for freaking ages. And I am
yeah,
so glad it was on there because it was brilliant. That was another
yeah,
movie that's gonna leave you feeling very unsettled
yeah.
afterwards.
I do need to watch that one because I've heard so many people talk about it. I've had a question come through from Dave. What are your thoughts on Battle Royale?
I absolutely love it. Anytime someone brings up Hunger Games and says, "Oh, how great it is," I'm like, "You watched Battle Royale if you're gonna watch anything like that."
Yeah,
I thought it was just comical watching at the start with their little like information video about you're gonna have a bag, it's gonna have food and water and a random weapon. You could have an axe, you could have a pot lid. But it's just I don't know, I haven't watched that many Japanese horror movies. Like I have seen obviously like Ringu and you know like the original Grudge. Battle Royale, I absolutely love, and I've got the book as well. I should really get around to reading that. I've got a stray hair that's annoying me, but I love Battle Royale. I've got an Arrow release on DVD. Like it was a big pack that they did.
oh, brilliant.
I just
Oh,
don't.
cool.
I just haven't seen the second one though, which I have right here.
Yeah,
I just
yeah.
haven't watched it yet though.
Ooh, oh, that's beautiful.
With that little R rating,
Yeah,
so you know it's going to be good.
it is. Yeah, I watched them years ago because we had them come through on Tartan Asia Extreme. So if you know in the UK, like Tartan during the like noughties was like the gold because we would get Korean, Chinese, and Japanese like horror movies, like the whole I trilogy. They did everything, and I like Battle Royale, but I don't love Battle Royale. I don't know what it is. I think it's very much like Pulp Fiction syndrome for me in that it hits a lot of when I'm younger, it hits a lot of like pressure points. So it was like very violent, it was very kind of out there. And then as I've gotten older, it's not that kind of film that I like. Especially kind of from I feel like with Japanese cinema, I feel like I love their ghost stories. And there was what was it? There was a I watched I don't know if I can say it on here, but yeah, there was one something of Edo. There were these kind of oh, you've seen Imprint, yeah, yeah, yeah. There was a
Oh,
run of like yeah, yeah. There was a run of 70s movies in Japan like that entire movie. So they were doing like series of them. I watched one and I like that not because of the content, but I again Japanese culture is weird because I watched one I bought one from Criterion, and it's actually like that was banned in Japan. Oh, what is that called? In the
see, when it comes to me in print, because I was watching it when they were releasing the Masters of Horror, I probably saw it at the wrong age.
Yeah, yeah,
So for me, it could be one of those films, if I watch it again, it may not affect me the same way as it did the first time, kind of like me watching American History X for the first time.
yeah,
Like, it's
yeah.
a brilliant movie, but I don't know if I'd watch it again just because I don't want to lose that feeling that I originally had with it. But then again, as I said, when I watched in print, because we taped it off TV, I wanted to burn the tape.
Yeah, yeah. No,
So,
no, no, and that's the thing. That's the thing. It's because a film very similar to that was Martyrs, and I actually watched that with my brother, and we would sit. We sat for about half an hour to an hour after the movie, and we were like, should we like that? And we went into this whole debate about is it art? Is it can you make films like that?
yeah.
Because realistically, that is like 5 minutes of story, an hour of torture at least, and I mean that's the thing. Is there artistic merit to that? And I think it's tricky. I mean, I would say I like those kind of movies, not in the sense of like I love them, or I like watching them because it always feeds back to that dark humanity, and
Yeah.
what are my thoughts and feelings on those kind of movies? You know what I mean? It's like that tester for, and that's what good horror should be and do, for me anyway. But
So I was just seeing what Brody had written, saying that he was messed up after the movie. The only one that ever did that to him, but he loved it.
or which one, Martyrs?
Yeah. I still haven't
Yeah,
seen it. I think that's on Broly. I should watch it.
there's
But I
shock.
need.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, Laura's just commented. Hi, Laura. She said, there's shock movies like a Serbian film that I refuse to watch, and I enjoy movies like Martyrs, though. So again, that's a great thing, because when people do these like lists, Martyrs and Serbian film get bundled together because again, it's extreme kind of stuff.
But it depends on what kind of extreme it is, where Serbian films about corn.
Yeah,
Although I haven't seen Martyrs, I don't know what's actually in there, but I know exactly what the Serbian film's subject matter is.
yeah. And then Jen's just said, I think hours of torture can have value. It can communicate, and so it can be art. That being said, art can be bad. This is we're getting some
And
great answers here. That's it. It's I find subjects like this incredibly difficult to have sometimes, because you're like, I want to discuss it, but then if I discuss it, am I actually an evil person for saying, like this? Because it always, like, especially how you word things and things like that, you know what I mean? That's like, because I watch like a lot of exploitation movies, and I have sat and thought, Jesus Christ, should I be watching some of this stuff, and should
yeah,
I even say like I enjoy it? But I've got very specific aspects of it that I like. I know the stuff I very much don't like, and very much sometimes have to suffer through to watch films I like, or whatever, vice versa. And I think that all comes down to, and it's like when people say about like, oh, you shouldn't watch like Woody Allen or Roman Polanski. It's the complexity of art.
yeah.
There you go.
There's
There's another trailer moment for you. There's another trailer drop for you.
is it Brody said that he's seen a Serbian film, Treat Yourselves, Evil Laughter. Yeah, he'd say that.
Yeah, yeah. And Sam's just said, thanks again, Sam, for another comment, mate. He said, Martyrs has a genuine story and it doesn't feel glorified to me. Serbian film makes me sick to my core. And fun story, me and him actually watched Serbian film on my mother's birthday. So, yes. Yeah,
Fellas, what are
don't.
you doing?
It was the day. It was. Don't. It was a really. It was one of those films where it got released like at a very odd date, and it ended up. We had some time to kill, and we were like, oh, we should watch this, because we weren't expect. I wasn't expecting it to be what it was, and yeah, we were just like, oh my god, what's this? So yeah.
What did you expect it to be? You didn't see like a trailer or hear anything about it before it was released?
I heard that Fright Fest fought to get it into Fright Fest, and they were literally fighting the censors, and it obviously been cut. But I was a lot more foolish back then, so yeah, yeah. And Jen's just said, like, I think if you're asking yourself those questions while watching exploitation, you're doing it right. I mean, and Dana's just come on and said, "Good morning, hello, Dana." And I think, yeah, like it gets tougher every single year that I'm alive, because we've had so many actors come out as awful people, and things like that, where it makes like watching art horrible. The directors have done this, and all this, and and you do get to a point where you're like, do I just stop watching stuff? you know
Well, Brody did say that with Martyrs, it's a really was a really thought out story with a very original premise. The ending was flawless. See, that makes a big difference. If there's violence in it, but it's there for a reason, it makes the biggest difference to what it is.
yeah,
Which, what I heard
yeah,
in the Serbian film, it's just like you have to do this to save someone. I don't know. I don't want to get too into it because, well, one, TikTok gods, and two, I don't want
yeah.
to see it. I don't even want to see it just to say I've seen it. I probably will eventually, but yeah, it's definitely not high on my list to see.
No, no, and I think that's thingy, and I mean it's fair, because it's like I've always banded the whole be open to everything, and I think you should when you're starting film.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
now at the I'm now at the age where it's like I like watching mutant sheep movies, and I like watching the kind of weird movies that I've got. Like, I don't like venturing too far out now. I've actually stopped buying American movies, like American imports, because it's getting to the point where, like, for instance, I picked up the like movies back then. They're coming through, like, say, for argument's sake, what was it? I can't remember. Like, say, The Editor, for instance. So it was a double pack. Because it's an import, I paid nearly 30 quid at the time for Blu-ray and DVD, but we only got it on DVD, say, and that's like 7.99. Like, I can get more stuff now for my money, and
yeah.
it's like I'm kind of done with all that. And yeah, it's getting to the point where, especially with like our boutique labels, I don't know about yours, because I mean, I see your releases, and Jesus Christ, you guys are so bloody lucky. But like, well, no, you've got Imprint, Umbrella, like Imprint. I would be literally spending every waking minute and working my butt off just to keep up with all those releases, because
A friend of
that
mine was
you.
doing that at one point.
Oh, sorry.
A friend of mine was doing that at one point.
Oh man, because there are movies you've got released that haven't been released in the UK, and you think of, like, we made that kind of big splash with like Arrow 88 and all that, and like Arrow is barely releasing in the UK anymore, and um yeah, like it's yeah, I just feel like we're kind of getting into a kind of wasteland at the moment,
Well,
but
I do know they were saying that, because I remember hearing years ago that Amazon was going to stop selling physical media because they really wanted to push their Prime. But there is a resurgence of the physical media again because people are getting over the idea of they want to watch a movie, oh, you can't because it's been taken off streaming. Or now when
yeah.
what was it on like PlayStation or something like that? People were told that if they had a certain TV show, it was getting taken away from them.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and I mean, this is the thing. Like, sorry to interrupt, but Disney have actually cut French Connection. Yeah, yeah, and this is the thing. What they did is because it had and I can understand why. Like, I can understand the why, but at the same time, why? Because it was a slur. I think it may have been a racial slur, but that is where we were talking about earlier. Title cards have saying these films reflect a specific point in time and place, and then you leave the work unseen, left alone. But
Yeah.
to own it, you've got to have it on physical media, and it
Yeah.
just feels like now, you can watch these movies, but are you watching the movies? Because they're all getting quite sneaky.
They are, and it's the same thing with TV shows. How with Community, they've taken away the Dungeons and Dragons episode because of one moment that every person will say it actually wasn't like a racist moment, but they've taken away an episode that had a really important message to it just because someone was gone. Oh well, someone might find it offensive, and you're like, well, did someone actually find it offensive, or is this your preemptive strike because you're worried it might happen? Like it's very silly. And you're doing that with the Golden Girls. It took away an episode as well, and you're just like, if you don't want to watch it, then just don't watch it. Why take it away from everyone else? It doesn't do anything. It doesn't make you feel good to go, oh, I got that episode taken away. You're like, good for you.
Yeah.
No one really cares.
That's all right. I've had like Dane has just come on. I think she's missed the beginning, but she said, "What is both of our favorite Christmas horror movies?" So, did you want to just quickly recap?
I said better watch out. I couldn't remember what I said because I was too enthralled with the mean one. I love better watch out.
That's both of yours, yeah.
Yeah.
Both of yours, yeah. Mine's Krampus. So thank you for the question. And then you've got, just imagine all of the bad people who work on movies we don't hear about because they aren't famous. Yeah. You can separate the person from the art, and remember, many people going into the making of the movies. Yeah. And then Jen says, sorry, that was Dave that said the last comment. And then Jen says, I focus on the movie itself, what I can get out of it. Yeah. And and then there is basically a comment section going on about a movie called Grotesque, which I'm very, very interested in. So, but yeah, do you have any questions or comments coming through that you'd like to talk about?
No. I've got one person watching, and Brody's just guessing he's just chilling. Brody, send me a question, dude.
Yeah, I've got. Oh yeah, because I've had for us, it's like I think. Yeah, everyone's kicking off now, so they're all like, right, cool.
Yeah, I've got one. I've got one person watching. And I've got people messaging me on my Instagram, Michael. I'm thinking, why aren't you over here? Why aren't you watching this, guys? Thanks for the support. Knocking around. No, they're already gems. They're all gems.
Yeah.
When they're not sending me weird, not gonna lie questions.
Oh, yeah. Those Instagram ones, as soon as I see the comment box, I'm like, oh god, here we go. We're gonna get some gems.
Because obviously when it comes to like YouTube, I'm not gonna, give in to the trolls. But when it comes to that, I'm like, I'm on a private Instagram. You're choosing to be here. This is on you, mate. Seriously, like you're here for because you've chosen to be here. You don't like it? There's an unfollow button. Go on.
Yeah.
Oh god, I just pushed something. Oh my god, did I just get rid of Brody?
Yeah. No, I was just having a quick look through, seeing if I'd missed anything, but no, it's Laura, Dana, and Dave are having a really good chat about kind of movies at the moment. So bless them. So yeah, but yeah, it's I'll give it a watch. I'll try and breathe. Yeah, no, Sam, don't worry, mate. I'm gonna watch Grotesque. As soon as I heard that, I was like, right, that's definitely a movie. Let's go. I'll try and rent it next week or whatever. So.
I've either accidentally muted my mate Brody or I've blocked his account. Sorry, I'll fix it after.
Oh no! Oh
no, he's back.
Oh, he's back.
He's back. I don't know what happened. I pushed a button and something happened. He's going to be like, "What the hell did you do?"
Yeah.
I don't know.
But,
it has been 2 hours and 45 minutes. Which is pretty good considering I think we wiped out the Christmas questions in about 15 minutes.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
the
I was going to say,
tangents.
sorry, it's been quite a smorgasbord rant, but hopefully you've got some epic clips here, and
I think so.
um, yeah, no, as always, Michelle, it has been an absolute pleasure getting to talk to you. So
Well, thank you once again for coming on to and doing this with me, like you did last time, and
no, that's
hopefully
fine.
very soon, into the new year, when all the retail craziness is done, we can
Oh
get into
God,
our
yeah,
first episode of
yeah.
the podcast where you'll be guest starring. And for everyone
Oh,
who doesn't know or is unaware, the first episode is going to be on the BBC's epic Ghost Watch.
yes, yeah, we are dropping that now. Yeah, Ghost
Yes,
Watch people.
Ghost Watch will be
So
good.
I know I'm very excited for to talk about Ghost Watch, because that was a brand new watch for me, and again I owe that all to you because you've been talking about it for so long. I saw it in a sale because I'd lost the link and I was about to message you, and then I saw it in like it was like reduced a little bit. I was like, right, let's grab that. I put it on and I was like, oh wow, I can see why Shell really loves this, and yeah, so got some interesting stuff lined up.
Definitely. And apparently that movie was possibly inspiration for a movie called Late Night with the Devil. It was actually an American movie that was filmed here that was going nuts at the Melbourne International Film Festival, which I think we're getting a release very soon here.
Yeah.
Which, if we do get it, I will be watching it like crazy because apparently it is brilliant. They try to perform an exorcism on late night TV live in front of everyone, so I'm actually looking forward to it.
And just bear with me. Sorry, Jen has said it's been lovely. I'm new here, but it was fun. Great having you, Jen.
I'm glad
And
you
then
enjoyed it.
and Sam just quickly said, where can we subscribe to your pod, Michelle? Google, Spotify, etc.
Okay, so I have not posted anything on Spotify yet. I will be doing that very, very soon, but on the Yvonne Priest Network on YouTube, I've been posting the clips from the previous live. There will be this live and clips from this live, and that's where I'll be starting to post the podcast, but in the new year. Because I'm a retail worker, and I was silly to think I could do it now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a bit crazy, but yeah, so
Yeah.
it's Spotify and then YouTube as well.
Yeah,
But
but yes, Spotify will be soon, and I'll notify people on my Instagram on both my one and Yvonne's one when that happens.
Cool beans, and I will share as always, so don't worry.
All right, thank you everyone who came and watched this one today. Hopefully, well, for people on my end, it was a little bit an accessible time. You guys are probably just getting into it now. You're probably like, why are you going? Don't go. Unfortunately, yeah, that's it, guys.
No,
It was a
no,
good
no,
show. So it is going to be posted on the Yvonne Priest Network. So you have a lot of opportunity to watch it again.
Yeah, and make sure to subscribe to Yvonne Priest. That's where the first live it is. And no, I mean, to be fair, you suffered last time, so it was only fair for me to get up at the crack of dawn to do this. But honestly, I mean, to be fair, I work really early, so it wasn't even really torture, so don't worry.
If I've got to be up for something, I'll be up. But if it's like my day off and I don't have to, I'll be like, nah, I'll be right, kind of thing. But no, I'd get up early just for this. So
I mean, to be fair, it's like this is my like last day. This is my like last day off before my holiday, so I don't care. It's like as soon as you said, "Oh, Rich, we can go Wednesday. Are you up for it?" I'm like, yeah. Like it's 6 a.m. here. Jen, well, have you been up all night in America? Like, damn. Thank you.
wow.
And I do need to make sure I follow you. Yeah, Jen Grace now. If you wanted to follow Michelle.
I'll follow her back.
Yeah, Jen Grace now. Thank you, Jen. Honestly, appreciated this. Yeah, lol, I'm a mess. Oh, bless you. I hope you get some 4:50 a.m. here, and I'm still at work. Oh my God, queer horror dad. Oh my days. We've definitely got time zones all over the place on this one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But no, thank you again, Shell. Honestly, it's been absolutely fantastic. So
This was fun.
yeah.
So yes, I will start posting this very soon. I will speak to you the usual way I speak to you.
Oh yes, yeah.
And
Dun,
when
dun.
you've seen movies like Rent a Power, you got to let me know what you thought.
I will do. I will do. I think we might. We would definitely have to do like a nice catch up and see where we are with some of these movies because, yeah, we've had some great recommendations and yeah, like you've recommended me some great ones and I've just rambled like a madman again. So that's great.
We've both rambled, seriously. It's gone from
No.
Christmas to strong feminine leads
Yeah.
to Serbian
Yeah.
film to video
Yeah.
nasties. Yeah.
British ratings.
What
British rating system.
do your ratings look like? Oh, mine don't
Yeah.
look like these ones.
No, but yeah,
Right.
you take care. Thank you,
You too.
Shell. Hope you have a good evening.
You too. Well, you have a good morning. Have a good day.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
try.
Jenny,
Yeah.
go to bed.
Yeah.
And I hope
And
everyone looks after themselves. And if we don't do anything like this again before Christmas, or if I don't see you on any of the social medias, have a great
yeah.
this time of year. Regardless of how you celebrate it, look after yourselves.
Yeah, thank you all for coming on, and yes, happy holidays, however you celebrate, and yes, take care, everyone. All right,
Bye.
bye.